intentions, and I'm looking for something to get by, high and dry, everywhere in myself. I'm looking for high and dry.
Stop running in the hall. Good to stop. Slow down, sir. Slow down, sir. Stop running in the hall, sir. Anthony, get to class. You're never gonna become a college student at that rate.
Got it. Fucking science. Yeah, fucking science, bro.
Lab coat, check. Goggles, check. Nodules, check. Fucking science, bro.
Hiya, lads. Welcome to science class. Bob, quit writing raps in your log sheet. No one's gonna sign your ass. Okay, let's get scientific. Fossil fuels come from years and years of biodecomposition. It's really just scientific. Why didn't all the fossils turn to oil? Some did, some didn't. Anyway, didn't Rockefeller pay a scientist off the year Geneva Convention? Wait, what was that? You wanna come up here in front of class? What, you wanna teach? You really think you're smarter than me? No, sir. Sit down. Here's your homework on the atom bomb and the World War, how it affected us standing out. Well, I seen the footage and I really just want some answers. How does someone film an atomic bomb and it doesn't destroy the camera? I mean, I was just... Bro, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. Fucking science, bro.
Lab coat,
okay.
Check. Goggles,
Science.
Right. Nodules, check.
Fucking science, bro.
Welcome to history. We evolved from Neanderthals. That is no mystery.
Well, why are there no monkey fossils?
What, are you kidding me?
I'm just saying.
Should've learned that way back in elementary.
Man, this nigga don't know what the fuck he's
What?
talking about.
I have a diploma. Do you have a diploma? Or we're learning disorder? My wife is a lawyer. We both have a daughter. She's doing fine with the things that we
Yeah,
taught
I'm
her.
just using the scientific method. Did we evolve from electronica boy or Homo erectus? And all of the fossilized footprints in the fossil records don't show a line of thrust. That's not consistent with compression.
What the fuck did he just say?
Yeah, okay, smartass. This is real knowledge. Save all the hippie shit for art class. It's really starting to bug me on this one. Gonna have to trust me on this one. I've done the studies on this one. Real little rusty on this one. I mean, why can't you just answer my question on the subject?
It's not in the fucking book. It's not up for discussion.
Science. I fucking love science. I love science.
Lab coat, check. Goggles, check. Nodules, check.
Fucking science, bro. Damn, must have been the hell of them Stegosaurus. It's over century burning fossil fuel. Still ain't no shortages. I ain't saying I'm Neo, but I'm nothing short of a Morpheus. Fuck, thought this was a globe. I gotta check my coordinates. You could blame my disorderly conduct on my subordinates. If it ain't no Coriolis, who's to blame for New Orleans? Why the poorest people always get extorted by corporate giants? We don't boycott, we buy in, and I find it unfortunate. Yeah, me plus you plus her plus her, that's four.
Now,
Bring your worst and I'm gon' bring much more. Yeah. Leave your nerves, your skirt both at the door.
add it up.
In case you didn't know.
Fucking science, bro.
Well, Earthshine is much brighter than moonshine.
Fucking science, bro.
Lab coat,
Moonshine,
goggles,
moonshine,
nodules, check.
moonshine.
Fucking
Moonshine.
How many fingers am I holding up? Come make 'em beatin' if you bold enough. Bobby Ray don't give no ounce of fuck. Your team is weak, you beat your bouncer up.
Student lives await you all. Oh, God, I hate my life. Hey, you. Hey, stop making out. I know your mother, Susan. I'm gonna tell Susan about this. Deborah. Is that Coke? Oh, man.
I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
No, I just can't leave these things behind. Trying to feel satisfied in my world. I am looking for trying to feel satisfied. I am looking for
earlier. A little motion.
Dude,
Yes, sir.
love that dude.
And I've got an upcoming Prezi on Tuesday where I'm going to be touching on Aries again. I've come across a new way to look at it. So I'll be going over that on Tuesday with some visuals and stuff.
I will be there definitely.
Yeah, new way to look at it, huh?
Dude, I was looking,
Bring as many people as I can.
bro, I was looking at all the math, right, for relativity, right? Because it's basically v squared over c squared is the time dilation and length contraction, right? Now, because you're squaring the denominator now, it's bigger, so a smaller number is going to come out of it. So it's literally just the same. So it's literally just the same as c plus or minus v. It's the same exact ratio. But instead, for relativity, they use it as contraction for the coordinate system. But it was originally derived by a guy named Voigt, and its BS talks about this all the time. Ken, I'm sure you've seen me retweet his stuff about Voigt and the Voigt transformation and its relationship to the Lorentz transformation.
Yep.
Yeah, so the principles on which that was originally derived were the timing and spacing of a wave with respect to an elastic medium. So the wave, like the physical wave, would be the thing that's compressed with respect to a medium, and the timing and spacing of that is what's facilitating like the change in the wavelength. So that describes your Doppler shift, your wavelength shift for things like well, actually his was just sticking to Doppler, so it would just describes the wavelength, the relative wavelength shift for apparent motion. But it's like mechanistically putting it on the wave, right? Where relativity, same exact equation, and instead of putting it on the wave, they say there's no medium to facilitate that mechanism. What's actually happening is time and space are contracting and dilating. So it's like, so anyway, when you look at the equations for classic Doppler shift and then what they call relativistic Doppler shift, especially the transverse effect in particular, they introduced their gamma term, which is the v squared over b squared, c squared essentially. And all they're doing is like saying that there's a smaller, that the speed of light is c plus or minus v, but to a smaller degree. Like
Where are they pulling? Where are they getting the gamma from?
Dude. So the gamma goes all the way back to squaring the basically v over c, right, to like a higher order, and that was done originally by Voigt under the premise of waves interacting with an elastic medium. So it's just a higher order ratio of what they were already working with back then with v over c. He was the first one to do it, because I've been trying to trace it back to its source, because when you look at v over c, or v squared over c squared now, it's like strictly looked at in terms of relativity, and it's like the relativistic and blah blah blah. But the derivation that Michelson and Morley used for their fringe pattern was they used v squared over c squared. So it predates relativity. So I was trying to figure out like where it started. But yeah, it's just a higher order ratio from Voigt.
I don't mean to change the subject, but when you said that it's compression of the waves in an elastic medium, right? The first thing that popped in my mind for some reason was the Lorentz contraction. And originally that was due to the ether. Is that you think that might be why he thought the ether might contract the apparatus?
Yeah,
Or even came up with the idea?
Yeah, he was influenced by it as well. 1 second.
Yo, is it C plus or minus V, or is all of space and time bending to make it look like it's C plus or minus V, but it's really C?
Dude,
that's where we're at.
It's C plus or minus V. It always has been, and then so get this, at non-relativistic speeds, right? Everything falls back to classic V over C equations, which is just C plus or minus V. And I was like, I don't know. I just had this epiphany that like the gamma factor correction is literally the same thing. It's just a smaller term of how much faster. Like, dude, the fact that they convinced everyone that the coordinate system is contracting by that much.
Yep.
I mean, dude, what a freak, dude. Yeah. That's so.
Look at the math. Funny. You're like, oh, it's the same thing. That's what? Oh, you got us, dude. I see. Oh, I see what you guys did.
Identical.
Like, yeah. But that's what Bennett was saying since he like came to the community, since his first presentation, since his first appearance on In the Field with Witsit. Like he said all of it, and we just didn't absorb it. Like with Mike and the Celestial Theodolite, it took us a while to absorb the importance and the implications of what he was saying. Like, see, yes, C plus or minus V, sure. It's like no, but everywhere, all the time. Only in the lab.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Like, basically, it's classical physics, but instead of calling it C plus or minus V, we just call it gamma. Is that basically it?
And then we say that that reality contracted and dilated. So check this out. You know your boy the muon, how they're like, oh, the muon. It must be experiencing time dilation
because of the amount of dilated.
because and therefore the lab frame's contracting, right? And they do this half Lorentz symmetry transformation between the dilated time of the muon and the Earth, the Earth and its atmosphere contracting in the muon frame or whatever, right? So instead of that, right? How about this? The muon, instead of the amount that it's contracted by, that's just the amount of how much faster it's going than the speed of light. It's just traveling at superluminal speeds. That's all that means. So like the arbitrary speed limit set within the relativistic framework for C is like handicaps them into turning everything that exceeds that into contraction and dilation. So when they get to velocities that exceed that, they're like, oh well, that's how much contraction there is. It's like it's just the inverse.
But they didn't do that. They were like, look at the math that describes the amount that's required, and everyone's like, ooh, no way. Yeah, no one told you. Well, it's actually the same amount that was before with C plus or minus V in the lab frame, but I'm not gonna call it that, and you're not gonna know.
No, it's been there the whole time. Yeah, every time, just think about this. Every time they're like, time's dilated, what that means is that the speed of light was either measured plus or minus V. That's all that means.
But then on the back of that, they say the muon actually exists because we know time dilation is real and it takes 2.2 microseconds longer than the mean lifetime or whatever to travel. Because we know that so it's all wrapped up in its own like reification of itself. We know it exists and we know time dilation are real because muons, and muons because time dilation.
Because this clock is 1/1000th of a second off from that other clock.
Dude, when you go through, I was going through this dude who generalized the relativistic Doppler equation, and basically when you go through it algebraically, the gamma cancels out and it just goes back to the regular Doppler equation, which is just V over C, which is C plus or minus V. Like, dude, they just rused everyone so hard. It's never not been that. And then now think about this, right? In GPS manuals, they acknowledge that they can derive your velocity based off of Doppler shift, but they interpret this mystically as somehow the speed of light is a constant and the Doppler shift is just some like it's crazy that they acknowledge that you could determine absolute velocity with that, but then there's no 30-kilometer Doppler shift for Earth, going through space or anything like that. But anyway, so they acknowledge this for GPS, that they can get your velocity off the Doppler shift, and GPS derives your distance based off of timing. So it's literally measuring C plus or minus V with respect to your exact velocity. Like the V over C relationship is a linear proportional relationship. So it's like you're literally measuring the speed of light plus or minus how fast you're moving. And they acknowledge that in GPS, but they've convinced everyone that the speed of light is a constant for observers at a constant motion.
Because they need to for relativity. Because Einstein just
and it doesn't matter if you're moving in a circle or moving in a straight line. GPS derives your distance accurately in the coordinate system in which it's using.
Dude, I had to look up the Doppler equation.
Basically, what you're saying is, welcome to classical physics.
Dude, just disguised as relativistic nonsense, and then so when you're like, so occasionally like relativity makes the correct prediction, but you think of it, instead of the amount of dilation, it's just C plus or minus. It's literally just the Sagnac effect. So it's just the speed of light was measured plus or minus whatever it is, and they've internalized that as reality changed for their measurement.
Dude, that's wild. That's wild, though. You look hard enough, you find it, though. That's good work, man. Hats off.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome Prezi. There's going to be a lot to go over, but anyway, it covers it ties back into the airy stuff, because the way that relativity works, like it kicks in when you're moving at 1% of the speed of light. So if you round the speed of light to 300 million meters a second or 300,000 kilometers a second, you'd have to be moving, 1% of that would be 30,000 kilometers a second. So if you're not moving at 30,000 kilometers a second, then like link contraction and time dilation really don't apply to you. And Man of Stone has an awesome video breaking down the effects of link contraction and time dilation, and like in terms of scale and like how fast you're moving and what they try to apply it to. So like for the Earth, which in their conceptualized model is moving at 30 kilometers a second, it's not moving anywhere near relativistic speeds. So the fact that they applied link contraction to time dilation to Michelson-Morley to explain a measurement of a fringe shift that was orders of magnitude times bigger than what was measured is like, extra hilarious.
Dude, I had to look up the what is this? What were you talking about? How the gamma cancels out in the relativistic Doppler equation. I never saw that before. We never really went over that. So I'm looking at it now, and they're like, "Oh, see this factor? Yeah. That's how much relativistic time dilation we need." And they're like, "Okay, well, watch this. Ready? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, and it's gone. We don't need it no more. Don't ask any questions. It's just the regular form now." And you're like, "What? Yeah, don't worry. It gets absorbed into the new raw coefficient." What? Yeah, no, it's in there still. You can't find it or quantify it in any way, but it was there when we started. It's almost.
And when anybody actually starts to go over this special relativity stuff, they say it's based off of Michelson and Morley proving that the ether didn't exist. This is the way it's being sold too.
They're saying, look, the classic formula isn't classic because it's modified by relativistic effects, which are time dilation, which is 0. We're going to modify it by a factor of 0 time dilation. But because we did that, it's now relativistic. That's essentially what they're saying.
Because the algebra started with it, and it reduces, dude. what was really funny was going over the uh, Einstein imposed a speed limit for the speed of light. So basically, the way that it works out is that no matter how you do velocity addition, if you're doing it through relativity, you're never going to exceed the speed of light. It's always going to be normalized by the by how he has it set up by the denominator. So the way that it's always going to work out is c plus or minus v is always going to come out to c.
They're just balancing the equation by inflating every other variable to accommodate by the same ratio. It's always been that.
Yeah, and then so to look for proof of like, oh, is this good to do this? He came across Fresnel drag, right? So when you look at that, that's c plus or minus v, where the medium is dragging the light. It's adding the plus or minus v as a function of the velocity of the refraction index. And because his equation, right, if you're moving at a slow speed, that term that he added to impose velocity addition drops out. It becomes irrelevant. So you drop that bad boy. And he goes, oh my God, if I drop this term, it reduces to the classical form of c plus or minus v for Fresnel drag. This must mean I'm super correct. Like, dude, if you drop what you think is time dilation and length contraction, you like, of course it's going to be back to v over c, because that's what it's always been. Like, the fact that was like a sold to us as like a grand epiphany thing is hilarious, man. It's so crazy. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? It started with that. That's what it's always been. Like, they act like when they talk about how it's derivable from gamma, that just means canceling it out.
Dude, it's like a math street trick to like see this algebraic term, put it over here, super important, it means everything. Look over there, out it comes, and boom, I'll give you what you started with. It'll be $20, please.
It'll be $200, please.
I mean, that's kind of why I was asking, where are they coming up with this gamma? Because I'm just starting to look into this special relativity stuff. So, I'm no expert.
So basically, Nick, what I think happened is v over c, right, is classic Sagnac. V squared over c squared is just a higher order Sagnac term. They just turned that higher order term into like the mystification of the contraction of reality and time. And because it's such a small term, everything that we deal with is always going to fall back to v over c. And they've just convinced everyone that, well, the speed of light's actually constant, and because you're in a non-inertial frame, you're allowed to measure it c plus or minus v every now and then.
Anyway,
crazy.
Did we come in and ruin your whole space? What were you guys talking about before? How's the night going? Been here since like 8 a.m, holding shit down.
Holding shit down, it's been a pretty good space. We had some people come in here and there.
Yeah, do you have Globers for Globe Friends, as we call them?
There was a couple in here. They tried.
Franco tried to get in, but he couldn't keep a mic.
No, Globe trolls don't count. Like Globe people, like actual people.
Yeah, I haven't really got. I ain't gonna lie, man. I took a hit there in a 12-hour ban. It kind of pissed me off, so I blocked a lot of people. So.
Did you? But there's always that dedicated group of 8 people that follow you everywhere and report everything you do. So you'll just never get away from it, bro. I think.
So I mean, I took a
never escape them.
Yeah, they're super dedicated.
Like Peter's never gonna be in here. Hap's never coming back in here. I just can't. Dude. I mean, Hap's been going over the same stupid shit, the same stupid argument for over a year.
Yeah, he circles aberration of light in Airy's paper in one paragraph, and he circles it and then draws an arrow to UTL in another paragraph and says, this is what he's testing right here. And it's, UTL is undulatory theory, and you need the ether for that. So he's detecting the ether. That's his story. And he's freaking sticking to it too, buddy. It's all about testing the ether.
And he got it in that short period where the water was in the telescope.
Yeah, imagine reading something on Wikipedia.
It's about tested motion relative to the ether, but on top of that, like imagine having like it's just a reading comprehension issue. Aries doesn't report. He doesn't say like, "Hey, this proves one thing or another." He just reports that the aberration in water was the same as it was in air. Right? He doesn't make any comment on what that implies or anything. He's just saying that it's the same. He's not saying that that means that the Earth is in motion.
Oh, he uses that too. What is it? There's true aberration. What does he call it? There's something aberration is the true aberration.
Well, how about this, dog? Aberration, the equation is V over C. So there's an absolute velocity in there somewhere. And then when you add water to the medium, so check this out, right? I was talking earlier about the relativistic limit where like, where does it apply? You have to be traveling at 30,000 kilometers a second rather than 30 kilometers a second. So if you're traveling at 30 kilometers a second, you fall back to your boy classical physics, dude. That's part of Einstein's big selling point, right? That's what I just went over. It falls back to the Fresnel drag. So guess what? If you apply, and then on top of that, it's been experimentally verified that Fresnel drag applies transversely. So starlight coming in above us and then like us moving perpendicular to that out from underneath it, essentially, has been experimentally shown that light will always drag in the positive direction of motion. So yeah, at a tune of the refraction index, just like the regular Fresnel formula. So if his relativistic equations fall back to classic physics and we're using V over C to establish the relationship of aberration to begin with for motion, then when you add water to it, you should just apply Fresnel drag, and the change in arc seconds should go from 20 to 20 point, I could look it up. I have a spreadsheet for it, but it's just a decimal place thing that goes out to like 14 different, 14 decimal places where like the angle's like literally the exact same. Like it should change, meaning it should change because it changes as a function of the refraction index. So it should be 28 point something instead of 20. So their whole hypothesis and all this stuff about transforming and the reference frame of the sun, and it already comes in lit. Guys, there's still no coherent explanation for it. And if you play it back like Einstein says you should, with his grand epiphany of how his formula for velocity composition falls back to the classic Fresnel drag, if that's true, then aberration, if due to Earth's motion, when you add water to it, should be 28 point, arc seconds instead of 20.
Dude, is Cat okay? Should you be calling an ambulance or something?
She's having a great time. I'll just chill.
Hitting the bong again. I see how it goes. I know that cough.
Yeah, that's the almost dead cough. She's doing great. Keep it up.
Kill those brain cells.
Get her some honey.
Oh,
Must
hi,
be
everybody.
Must be that Benjamin working.
That's what I'm using. What up, Stone?
What's up, Stone? So, I know everybody's gonna regret this.
You're not letting Peter in.
Did you find a Glober that's not Peter?
What do you want? What do you got on this?
It's not half.
Oh no, it's retarded.
Yeah. What do you got there, Index?
Okay,
what do you got to refute any of this? You got anything? You learn anything? Are you agree with anything?
I have a question. I haven't learned anything, so I'm asking a question to see if somebody has an answer. You mentioned the speed of light being constant, and where does that come from?
No, the opposite of that.
Comes from Maxwell's equations, starting with it's the reciprocal of the electric permittivity and magnetic permeability constants, and from that you can derive the speed of light. And then it was also measured by pizzazz using a rotating cogwheel and light pulses going through the cogwheel. So when you do that based on the distance and the rotation rate of the cogwheel, you could work out how many pulses there were over 20 minutes, and that will give you the speed of light. So there's been that's what they were like using it as the reference for the mathematical point for the constancy.
The properties
Also
of the
known as
vacuum
Fiesel.
itself.
What's that?
Also known as Fiesel.
Oh, the
Oh, you talking about Young Fizzy?
Yeah, my Fizzmeister, yeah.
So that's how they got the speed of light. Was there a follow-up question you had there, Index?
It was like, you know how you said it's constant? It's like, well, no, we said the opposite of that aggressively and over again, but whatever, it's fine.
Whatever.
Yeah, we use the word anisotropic if you're tied to that term, and the only constant thing about it is that it is that speed in vacuum, and every time you increase the density of the medium through which it travels, just about in every case, the velocity comes down.
And I think the only way they made the speed of light constant on reference frame is with the Lorentz contraction.
Yeah, it would just be C, and instead it's C plus or minus V, the velocity component, meaning that it's not C. That's the whole point.
They certainly made it appear that way.
So what is C then?
So the way that it's used in modern physics is it's used as a constant, and then there's a measured deviation from that that's plus or minus. So like earlier when I was talking about how there's a proportional difference measured in velocity, so they use that math as a constant. So like when they derive this is the velocity using the permittivity and permeability variables, right? They set that as like their baseline, and then they just they measure things plus or minus relative to that.
Okay, so it is a constant.
To answer his question, again, we're talking about how light speed is anisotropic. You might want to get tight with that term. Again, C, the classic definition, is only referring to the speed of light traveling through a vacuum where there is no medium to consider. You got
That's
it?
fine. That's fine. I mean, I'm not really concerned about the vacuum or any other medium. So
terrestrially, it's measured plus or minus V relative to the latitude and direction, right? But they use that calculated value as their baseline, and also there's a relationship with wavelength and frequency, where it comes out to be the speed of light as well. So they use that as a physical baseline for the ratio, but it's measured by the observer's velocity. And there's also, like Stone was saying, when you're in a vacuum, the speed of light appears to be moving at that constant rate. When there's a medium, though, they measure a sidereal fluctuation. So they measure like a min maximum speed throughout the day relative to the latitude. And like most the globe lads would call that Earth rotation.
But that's because the permittivity changes.
Yes. There's with respect to the stars, huh? That's crazy, right?
No, in the medium that it's moving in, the permittivity changes.
Right. But then also, but like within that though, there's a sidereal fluctuation becomes apparent.
I don't know what that is. So you mean because of the rotational?
You're saying that the Earth spins in accordance with the sun, which is goofy.
No, so basically they begin to pick up a difference in the speed of light when they use an interferometer. So like they'll split a light beam and then it'll recombine on itself. Mm-hmm. And when they add a medium, they notice that that rate at which it recombines, like when it should be a constant, that it fluctuates, and it has a minimum and maximum amount that occurs throughout the day. And when they plot that amount against sidereal time, it makes a sine wave.
Okay. So it varies throughout the orbit? Like, depending on what the position of the Earth is relative to the sun?
No, we're saying that it's not measured as a constant. It's only the vacuum speed and used as like a reference ratio is where it's a constant. So like the way that I kind of think about it, because it does sound confusing, the way that I kind of think about it as that light has its own inertial frame where it's traveling at c, but we measure it plus or minus our velocity relative to that frame. If that
Yeah,
helps.
but then light is not moving in its reference frame, right? Because from the perspective of the light, it's not moving at all. It doesn't experience time. Like if you actually did the math, right? If you look at the relative velocity change with Lorentz transformation, you can't move the reference frame to the light particle. You just get divided by infinity, or like divided by 0, which would give you like infinite, I guess it's not contraction, it would be infinite expansion of time dilation.
Well, that's applying an arbitrary imposition on a photon, right? That's creating a geodesic or whatever. Actually, it's creating a null geodesic. So
right,
that's not even what's measured. Like you can, a Sagnac interferometer measures C plus or minus V. So that obviously doesn't apply. And then there's also a linear variant of the same thing. So the concept of a null geodesic is just it's a math concept. It's not a real thing.
Did you say from the frame from the light? Is that how you started that instead of being the difference between lab frame?
Well, no, I was talking about like
him. That's how he started. He went from the.
You said the perspective of the light, but you can't have the perspective.
I started.
From the light.
I started. So think of it's not necessary. Like you're thinking about it in terms of like the null geodesic, right? Don't think about it in terms of the light traveling. Just think about it in terms of like there's an absolute space. There's some stationary frame that this motion is with respect to. Think about it like that instead of rather than trying to think about it in terms of like you looking at it through the frame of a photon, because that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so what are you saying?
That the V over C relationship would be like saying that the C in that, instead of it being like this is a photon, that C would just represent it represents absolute space.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yep. So that's it.
Okay. All right. I mean, that seems fine to me. But the reason I asked that question is because you kept saying it's not constant, but you're always using it as if it is a constant. So the relative difference is not constant. I understand that because you're changing the permittivity. But
look, dude,
the vacuum
once again,
speed is the constant.
Okay, look,
that you are
that's
using.
the thing. Is we're talking about light going through a vacuum. Yes, that is a given speed, and you're treating that figure as a constant and applying the letter C to it. Now, as soon as you bring that into reality, into applied situations, not just dancing around with mathematical formulae, not just playing with a mind experiment, not just dancing around with things that are completely unfalsifiable because of the equations and the factors inherent there within. As soon as you break it down into something applied, you start to apply coefficients to that constant. And then the speed of light is no longer C, is it?
It's C times some factor.
Plus or minus, and according to the coefficients, yes. And the plus and the minus, just to get this into you, because you appear not to be picking it up, that the plus and the minus are something that are applied with regard to reference to the frame. And this is something that Einstein really could not get rid of in the logic behind the formulae themselves. The problem here is that we're measuring anisotropy here because we're not in a stationary frame. The question is, how not stationary is that? And when we talk about area, and when we talk about Nicholson-Morley and expecting 30 kilometers per second to come out of the data, and it doesn't, the mainstream want to wash the whole thing and say, oh, well, it must be something like a failure. And because they didn't get that value, then of course, everything they got in terms of actual data was declared null or zero. And I find that an act of scientific intellectual cowardice, which is being perpetrated today. And you are a member.
All right, man, calm down. I'm not a member of any scientific society, but
No, you are a
I'll take
member
that
of
into
the group who
advisement.
are perpetrating this again
Next time
because
I'm
of
in
your
the-
short-sightedness.
All right, Stone. Next time I'm in the meeting where we discuss these things, I'll bring up your what would you call them? Objections?
I'm having a little bit of doubt that you could even steel man it at this point.
Well, I'm just saying, next time I have the meeting, I'll bring it up. Your objections, that is. Not steel man, obviously, just my recollection of it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is I have extreme doubt, or at least a little doubt right now based on your reactions and your feedback that you even have that ability. So good luck with that.
Well, I mean, if you have somebody else that can do this on your behalf, please go ahead and talk
It's
to
not a
them.
question of what I can do. It's a question of what you can do from here. And it doesn't seem that you're that capable.
Well, I mean, I said I would do my best. So that's all anybody can do, really, at the end of the day.
I mean, isn't your whole stance on this is because you like the way it maths and stuff? Have you ever been able to apply any of this math to reality?
I don't know if you use GPS, but the math that they use for that.
Here we go.
Nice. Yeah, dude, we were just talking about gyps.
Yeah, so there you go.
Do you happen to have an ICD handy?
I don't have anything handy. So
Okay.
But the correction factors that they use, the contraction and expansion of time and distance.
Yeah,
the range measurement equation depends on C plus or minus V.
Yeah, they don't use any of those. They use the Sagnac equation and Galilean transformations.
Well, it falls back to that if you're not moving.
Indubitably. Indubitably.
Do you guys know what that's called?
Dude, and also...
Hold on one sec, Alan. Alan, look, Index, this is how we got to the conclusion that we're looking at the anisotropic nature of light to begin with, is because it's all about the Galilean transformation, not the Lorentzian, because only one, and that would be the former, is proven to be valid in the lab, right? Not just on the chalkboard.
No, I'm not sure you're saying that right. The correspondence
I'm not saying
principle.
it right?
Yeah, I don't know what that word is. That's a fancy word you're using. I don't really know if it corresponds or not. But the principle in physics, where you have whatever your theory is, if it matches up with the classical data, that's called the correspondence principle. And so if you invalidate a previous theory, then you have to explain why exactly the old equations that were describing the old observations are invalid, right?
Okay, so who has done this invalidation of the Galilean transformation premise? Who's got some actual data on that? I think you'd be hard pressed to find any, bro.
No, the only would be if they like their interpretation of Michelson-Morley.
No, it's not just Michelson-Morley. You can look at
other than that, there's no justification for it.
The relativistic effects are present in the CERN accelerator. The way they design the radius is based on relativistic correction.
Who told you that story?
What do you mean?
So
it's in the paperwork.
So listen, time dilation and length contraction have to be reciprocal, and what they measure in CERN is only with respect to the lab, and the lab is never dilated or contracted. So what they measure is something going at superluminal speeds, and then they interpret that as time changed, which is not true, because the time in the lab frame is the exact same that it's always been.
It's whenever mathematical ass covering.
Yeah, they just measured C plus, like that's what we were covering earlier. They measured C plus or minus V, and they just call it time dilation.
Not for the particle accelerator. They do something else for that. It's not just plus or minus.
Well, hold on. You said GPS. You wanted to talk about GPS, I thought.
Yeah,
well, that's fine. I mean, we can also talk about GPS if you want.
No, you wanted to. Remember that?
What do you know about GPS?
I mean, any way you slice it, dude. So earlier you were talking about, your framework has to go back to the previous theory. So here's the thing, is that the previous framework, right? The Newtonian framework, classic framework, the Aether framework is all based on the concept of absolute time and absolute space. And relativity is based on relative time and space as a function of velocity. And these two things are antithetical. So if we're using a system of GPS where it's using light and high velocities, then relativistic physics should be present in it, namely relativity of simultaneity, and it isn't. GPS creates an absolute timeline, and no matter the observer's relative motions to one another, everyone gets a signal from the same source, and there's no additional timing corrections based on their relative velocity to that source to interpret the order of events in which the signal was sent. So in actual applicable reality, relativity of simultaneity doesn't even exist.
Well, hold on a second. You mentioned classical Galilean transformations. So the old framework assumes that signals travel instantaneously. So what I mean by that is, if you stand 10 meters away from me and you raise your hand, right, I'll see it instantly. Which is to say, if you raise your hand you have a clock and you say, I'm raising my hand at 12 o'clock exactly, then my clock is also going to measure, like, whatever the distance is going to be 12 o'clock, because that's when you raise your hand. Okay? But this is obviously incorrect, right? Because signals do not travel infinitely fast, instantaneously. There is a maximum speed of signal propagation, which means when you raise your hand at 12 o'clock, it's going to take some milliseconds for me to decide, oh, I can see now his hand is raised. And it's going to be like 12 plus 1 millisecond o'clock for me, okay? Now, obviously, you can ignore that on a small distance, or whether if I'm not moving relative to you, or if I'm moving relative to you with very small, like, speed, okay? So you can just, like, measure me moving past you. But the faster and faster I start moving past you, that assumption that when you raise your hand, I'm going to see it right away, falls apart. It stops working. And so now you have to adjust your equations, the transformations that you have to perform from your frame when you raise your hand and from when I see it in my frame is no longer Galilean, because if you use the Galilean transformation, it stops making sense. You have to use the Lorentzian transformation. Then it makes sense.
Yeah, and did you know that Lorentz physics doesn't exist in GPS code? This is well documented. I can pull up some docs right now if you want to go over them.
Well, but they don't use Galilean
talk about that.
They use some correction of Galilean.
They explicitly use Galilean transformations. Neil Ashby did a 20-year tour telling everyone that the Sagnac effect is proof of relativity in GPS, and he goes over the Galilean transformations that they use, showing that the transformations between the ECI and the ECEF are Galilean, which is antithetical to relativity. And on top of that, there was what's that guy's name? Oh, Carroll Alley, who did an atomic clock experiment, claiming that he showed relativistic effects in atomic clocks, and therefore now it's going to have to be accounted for in GPS. And then 17 years later, he's in a GPS overview begging for Lorentz physics to be introduced and questions why relativity of simultaneity doesn't have to be accounted for.
Yeah, dude.
So like everything that you're citing and like proclaiming and objecting as doesn't exist in GPS, and it's well documented, which is why we don't believe in it.
Dude, the ECEI to ECEF specifically, because that exists, disproves what you're saying. Because the ECEI is just Earth-centered inertial, and that the only difference is that's like synced to sidereal time. So it's like six months of the sun and 6 months of darkness. It's literally synced to sidereal time. You'd only have to do that if there was a distinct difference in C plus V, so that when you sync that to that coordinate system, that difference obviously disappears, and that's where all the calculations are done. So then when they say, oh, actually, all frames are equal, we can do this, and it makes sense. And then, no, they have to do within ECEF and then translate it to ECEI because of this different C plus V velocity difference in the signal transmission, and they disguise it in that frame, do all the work, and tell all the engineers and everyone, this is why it is, this is why we need this is where all the work is done. And then what we're saying is actually that whole thing is C plus V on its face. If it wasn't, you wouldn't have to do any of that.
Yeah, but they are adding a correction.
The correction is C plus or minus V, though, big dog. That's a huge problem for relativity.
I don't think that's a big problem, because when you divide by the square root of 1 minus the factor you were talking about, the gamma factor of V squared over C squared. So what is the V that you're talking about? Because when it's too small, right, the square root factor is essentially 1, which means you're just multiplying the plus or minus by 1, or dividing by 1, whatever. So it just ends up being the correct Galilean transformation.
Okay, so if that's true and there's no physical disconnection there, then a Michelson-Morley interferometer would have to measure 30 kilometers a second. This is why the two lines of physics have to be physically disconnected, because relativity is used as a supplement to explain why the Earth doesn't have a measurable velocity, why there was no change in the aberration, why an interferometer only reads quote unquote sidereal rotation. Why they throw out the 5 to 6 velocity measurement and act like it's a 0.
Einstein is mathematical copium.
I think every mathematical theory is copium, but that's fine, Stone. You can have that one.
I mean, well, V over C is like first orders, first principles, direct relationship, linear proportional. Whereas the other one is second order. It requires a transformation. It requires assumptions that aren't even that have never been manifested, like what's it called? Reciprocal time dilation. Like none of these things have ever been manifested. You could clearly tell the difference in inertial frames based off of Doppler shift. Like the fact that the fact that it's C plus or minus V, like if you're not measuring C plus or minus V, you can distinguish your frame.
So how are you distinguishing from the perspective of the shifting signal and you?
Is it shifted or not?
Yeah, okay. So you have a moving signal, it's Doppler shifted. How do you know you're not moving? Or are you assuming you're not moving?
Because the oscillation rate of change is synced not with solar time, but sidereal time.
Okay, but so you're assuming your reference frame.
Do you understand what I just said?
Let me just repeat what you said.
Do you understand what I just said?
You're assuming a reference frame wherein you're measuring a specific distance and duration of time. What is that reference frame?
So there's two possibilities, right? So if we take the Michelson interferometer as is, and the readings from Miller, etc., and others who have reproduced it, right? If we took that 7 kilometer to 10 kilometer velocity, you could say that the Earth is moving at 10 kilometers a second. You could say that the Earth is stationary and there's a medium between us and the starlight that's moving at 10 kilometers a second. You could say that there's some unknown mechanism that's producing a relationship that's matching sidereal time, that's causing that fluctuation, that same thing, right? Now,
yeah, that's fine.
Now, if the Earth isn't moving at 30 kilometers a second to substantiate heliocentrism, then we could take other approaches to determine, if the lab frame is stationary or not. Namely, you can get into Newton's bucket, you can get into conservation analysis and kinetic energy potential analysis. So, like, which one of these
you said
satisfies?
You were using Doppler effects. So I want to know how you are measuring if you're stationary or if it's the signal that's stationary with the Doppler effect.
So if you're in the lab and you're sending signals and you're stationary and there's no Doppler shift, and then you also have an observer that's moving and they measure a Doppler shift, which one, like only one of those frames is going to have the velocity Doppler shift component to it?
No, I think I know the question he's asking. And I think in your answer, you need to read up on Marmet, M-A-R-M-E-T from Quebec. This is all about how, well, yeah, they send the signal in both directions and get 2 measurements. Okay.
Where's the Doppler shift, Stone?
It's in the difference between those 2 measurements. And it's in microseconds, not milliseconds, by the way. So yeah, check out that paper and your answer will be spelled out for you.
Oh, you talking about the old around the world Sagnac effect?
No, the New York
Stan?
to LA one. Yeah, exactly. And frankly,
Right.
if you wanted to, you could just bug over and watch my video on it. It's a couple of thoughts about the speed of light. And Marmet is featured.
Which video
Shout
is this?
out
Is
to
this the
Marmet.
latest one or the?
No, hardly the latest. It's one of 50 videos I just uploaded to my brand new Rumble channel, which you will be able to see if you right-click me, put me up in a new tab, and check my feed. You will find it very quickly.
Got it.
So what do you
I'll
think?
be right back.
So GPSs are cool,
Or
right?
do you still believe in general relativity?
Are you asking me?
Or special for that matter, which
like
is
the
really
math.
what we're talking about.
I just like the math, man. It's not about me believing it or not. I just like.
So you agree
symbols.
that it actually doesn't no realistic base in reality, but the math is interesting. Is that your stance?
Oh, you weren't here when I was discussing this. All math is fiction. It's all made up. None of it is real.
But like you can use math to describe the length of a highway, and you can use math to describe the speed at which Superman flies in his underpants, and that has different implications, right?
The symbols don't care if you're describing Superman or the
No,
highway.
the math is the same. I'm just saying you can use it in different applications, right?
Yeah, I agree. You can.
Well, that's all we're saying.
Because it is fiction. Because if it wasn't fiction, right, then you can do that.
I think we're agreeing that math can be used to describe falsifiable and unfalsifiable scenarios. And I think we know which one Einstein's is. We just don't have the gamma.
Yeah, I don't think it's all fake or whatever you're trying to say there. It is a language, and as any language, you can write lies.
That's kind of poetic, man.
Yeah, that's nice, man. That's cool.
I kind of liked it myself. I was like, that was pretty good.
You felt it when you said it. Yeah, nice.
Are you overlooking your decision not to go into marketing?
So do Index and Stone already hate each other, or did you guys just meet, or did you when you introduced Index with a heavy sigh, is it because you already knew him? I'm confused still.
Actually, he kind of reminds me of somebody we used to speak to on Friday nights about a year and a half and some ago, and strangely enough, it would coincide with the rough date of this guy's account.
He reminds me of some dude named Retarded AI.
I keep hearing about this guy, and although I've never met him, he sounds very famous in your circles.
That sounds like you are this guy immediately. I don't know anything about the situation, but that's like the gayest self-promote I've ever heard or whatever.
I don't know about this guy, but he sounds awesome.
Yeah, that guy sounds like he has a big dick energy or whatever. I don't know anything about him.
Sounds great.
The tip off for me was your overworking of the adverb, obviously.
Okay, I'll make sure to keep that in mind for next time.
I don't know. Yeah, so obviously,
the next time you create an account, you mean? It's far too late now. I don't know what you mean.
No, it's the same account.
So I mean, it seems like you're pretty good at this math stuff, and you don't have to. You have a kind of a grasp of it. So what's making you think this is all true or something? Why you holding on to it? What's the fight here? What is it that you don't see from our side that you don't get?
No, I see your side.
Yeah, no motion of the earth around the sun ever from any instrument ever taken from any experiment. You get our side, right? Math or otherwise.
That one
What?
is
Is he lagging or am I lagging?
I think it's me, or is it everyone?
Yeah, he's chopping a bit.
He's kind of chopping up a little bit.
Yeah, everything has been crashing on me today.
Oh, okay. Shoot. All right. Yeah, you're coming in a little broken, Index. But I had a pleasure talking with you, sir. It's been a little bit since I've spoken to a relativist or someone who
they are kind of charming.
Supported it.
Like no, but it has to be. That's pretty much what you get. But it has to be. Like it is.
But the math says
it is. It has to be. Therefore, it is.
When the math gets manipulated, it's not has to be.
Well, Alan's favorite topic is how math became reality. That's his first presentation. He was all about that. I think he was genuinely frustrated with the state of science to start his.
Oh, really?
To start his his objectivity or whatever you want to call it.
See, to me, why aren't we using natural law like of everything instead of the globies always use math, algebra, and it's like you can't use a triangle on a globe. It's impossible. You could do it on a flat horizontal surface, but they're just nonsense.
Well, that's why they dreamt up Habersign and the rest of it.
But if I calculate within my spherical coordinate system based on the positions of the stars, I can calculate a sphere.
But bro, is the sky curving or is the ground curving at exactly the same rate? Suspiciously or whatever.
Listen, let's not get into central angle theorem.
That guy leave?
Man,
I think he reset his mic or he was lagging out. He'll probably be back.
He might be coming back after he fixes his mic, but
he just wasn't being handed the trophy that he was expecting to be handed. I think that's the problem.
I think we all said he did pretty well. I think that's a pretty good trophy.
Well, damn, I got dropped from the space going to BitChute to get Man of Stone's video for him, so you didn't have to go look for it.
Oh, you don't? It's all up on Rumble now, man.
Oh,
yeah. Check out my bio here, right on X. I got a new post. Check my feed.
Pretty sure his whole
just
point
announced.
Yeah, was to advertise his new Rumble, and you totally subverted his point by going
Totally,
back
dude.
to his bitch.
God almighty. Well, I got to get something wrong. I can't be perfect.
Hey, get it over with early in the night. That's great.
But you got your ladder, though, right?
I was gonna say, in some way we could blame his lighter. I haven't thought of it yet.
I was resisting going there, gentlemen.
Yeah, I've got it.
Real quick, so the speed of light, that's just a disturbance to the electromagnetic field. Is that what it is?
Well, the dude
it's like an event taking place.
The dude asked a good question of where it comes from, and Alan's answer is excellent, right? The electric permittivity and the magnetic permeability, like so literally the properties of what they say the vacuum is where they get the quantification for the speed of light, the properties that are already there of the medium itself, and then they're like, oh, you know what? There's no medium, and light's a constant. Boom, nailed it. Like what? No.
We're just talking about the rate of
this little transformation. Light's a constant, and spinning space balls are back on the table, boys.
The rate.
Because when they use the term vacuum in the papers I'm reading, it's like the vacuum is the ether, right?
Well, there are two. There are two vacuums.
What's the other one?
There's just regular old 3D space that NASA pretends to play in, where there's just no air or no anything else, but there is 3D space, right? You're kind of
from what we know in reality, Like,
But
forget all the nonsense of NASA and the globe model and all that crap. Like, reality itself, what the scientists were studying in the past, it's the ether. That's what they refer to as the background medium, the electromagnetic medium. So when you excite it, that's what we're seeing. The light that flashes, you're disturbing the ether, and then the response time from when you disturb it to when we see it, that's the speed of light. Am I wrong? Am I close?
No, I think conceptually that's what it is, right? As Whitsitt used to say, it's like the rate of the quantification of the rate of induction. It's a useful parameter.
Yeah, that disrupt. I always kind of thought, I really never really thought about light at all. But lately, you make me think about light and stuff, and it's really weird, man. But I just thought it was like vibrating the whatever molecules around it or whatever at a higher rate of speed. I don't know, man. It's pretty weird. Light is freaking trippy when you really think about it.
But like,
But would it be the frequency of it?
Something like that.
Well, it's the frequency is what's used to disturb the ether, and the visual, what we see, the light flash or whatever, that's the reaction to the ether, and that's the speed of light that we're measuring. So any disturbance to the ether is measured the same, and that's what they call the speed of light, the constant.
And it's fast gone too. It doesn't just linger away and just fade out, man. It's bam, gone.
Do you have to hard meter
Exactly.
one for
So
that?
is there really a speed of light? Is there stuff it's not like light is traveling from one point to the other. It's just like what's it used to say, the excitation of the electromagnetic field.
Yeah, in our like conception of it. So like that's the difference between someone who's an atomist trying to rationalize the same observation as someone who's like an etherist or whatever. Look, there's the speed at which that photon BB traveled across the vacuum to get to my eyeball, and we're like, well, no, the light's already there. Look at the rate at which the wave has illuminated to produce the radiation that is the light that you then see as it quantifies the waves across the medium. Look at that, and it's like, oh, it's the same, right? So.
Yeah, I'm getting it now.
Two different, I think, frameworks of interpretation, you would call it, between etherism and atomism. I think that's one of the most important things. It's like, oh, did you guys know? Did you guys know there's an alternative to atomism? Like, did you know that if you didn't want to believe in little tiny BBs of everything that exists from everywhere and pop around all the time and travel through infinite nothing through everything constantly, like there's another way to interpret all the same visual phenomenon that you see? Did you guys know? Because I didn't know. That's how I became an etherist.
Is that legal? Can I get a fine?
The one where they don't have to invoke weak nuclear force and strong nuclear force to hold the model together.
Like the way they
Dude, you got your gluon field and you got your nepton field, and the gluon field interacts with the nebulan field and it creates a screw-on, and you don't know if it's up-screwed or down-screwed. Sometimes it's left-screwed and right-screwed, not to be confused with clockwise screwed and counterclockwise screwed.
But like the way they present light and everything to you, it's like, here's how you interpret it. They don't say, here's another way you could interpret it that makes way more fucking sense and is logically consistent with everything we know and measure, which they should. So the fact that they don't specifically and then don't tell you about it and then tell you on Wikipedia that the ether is disproven, don't look any further, should tell you all you need to know or whatever.
What was it that Tesla said? Infinitesimal prodigious worlds of ether?
I mean, everybody knew you needed a medium. Everybody. And Einstein took it all away and changed all of physics, and everybody is going with that nowadays. But we don't get taught that until you go pay for it.
Yeah, it's because they know if they taught atomism alongside etherism,
oh, dude.
nobody would be an atomist.
Such a good point. You have to pay to you're paying to learn this that what you're calculating isn't C plus or minus V. It's actually a change in reality relative to the observer's velocity.
Ooh,
And when you pay for it, you're invested in it, so you defend that shit. Because you can't say I paid for something that's stupid.
Checks out.
I feel you, Franco. I feel you. I'd probably defend that shit too.
Hardcore.
Dude, You should see that guy from the engineering overview, Carol Alley, who was like, yeah, the fact that Lorentz physics and relativity of simultaneity and general relativity doesn't exist in GPS corrections is kind of weird, but just let us know when you want us to put those in and we could figure it out. Peace.
And we lost Ken again. Temporal time pocket or something. I don't know.
I'm gonna venture there's a direct linear relationship with times he loses his lighter and his direct absence from this panel. I'm just gonna posture a hypothetical.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, Franco's all like, I've been a theoretical physicist for 40 years and I never question why we don't use the scientific method.
Hell yeah, brother.
Implications are uncomfortable if I were to do that, so I won't.
I mean, like, don't you have a problem with that? I mean, it's cool to, think tank it a lot. I mean, if you want to admit that that's what you're doing. But you can't tell me that's reality if you're not using the scientific method.
Well, if you're a theoretical physics, you don't have much use for the scientific method.
That's a problematic thing too.
You know what the most
there's
problematic thing?
There's a field out there that does this stuff, makes money, and makes decisions, and we live by this shit. That's fucked up.
People give a theoretical physicist more respect than like any other science, and that you play in make believe land with nonsense, with things that don't matter and never will. Literally, you do nothing, and nothing you do matters, and people are like, "Oh, that's so smart."
Dude,
like what?
There's so much nothing out there. There's got to be something.
Well, listen.
Did you see that video from Sabine Hoffensfelder where she was like, she just described the exact same thing you just said?
I just got tossed out of another institution for speaking my mind. I give her points, actually. A couple of years ago when I first came across her, and she was a devout normie physicist, and I just figured, fuck, I can't wait to make ridiculous mocking videos of her. But now it's wait a minute, she's halfway there, guys. She's halfway back from hell, and seems like she's still headed in our direction, which is actually really encouraging.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody in my field that uses the scientific method, Michikaku. I mean, what?
Yeah, dude, when you're like making wild predictions based on the tiny luminosity change of a visible bloop of illuminating in the sky, and making such extrapolations based on stellar spectroscopy and unconfirmed gas based on this tiny, I mean, you can just make anything up, because who's going to be able to go 165 billion light years away to test the thing that you saw blink to see if that blink actually corresponded to a specific drop in nitrogen rate that you putting forth in your giant speculative gravity method? Like literally nobody cares. Nobody can confirm any of it. Everyone just makes everything up. It's all,
trust me, bro. It's happening.
How they detect exoplanets, dude, is so funny.
Yes, that's a black hole out there.
They're like, oh, you see that light? You see how it blinked? Okay, well, what just happened was a whole planet that looks just like us actually circled a black hole and a star, and the wave that you saw actually passing through the multiple billions of nothing with little BBs actually reached your eye from 183 billion miles away, and it did so in a warp pattern that makes us know that actually there's another exoteric planet that we can't see is circling that star, which is definitely like our sun. You're like, oh yeah, that's neat, bro.
That's a cool story. You couldn't have made up that story. It's got to be real.
All that because that light blinked, huh? No way. It flickered a little bit, and it flickers consistently.
Not only did that light blink, but the rate at which it flickered over a periodicity, bro. You know what happens when these people get a periodicity, bro? They go nuts.
You know what that is? God. You know how much gas is on that planet that's definitely circling that sun 170 million miles away? Like, what? Dude, you could just make up anything. Who's the guy that was like, if you give these people license, they'll just start, science will become nothing. Like, if you can, like, an astronomer doesn't need to quantify anything. I think I butchered the quote, but you guys get it.
You know, space is fake, man. They say we got a planet out there that's raining diamonds, and well, the Jews ain't trying to get there. So,
actually, we have 2 planets in our solar system that could rain diamonds. I think it's Uranus and Saturn, ain't it?
Sure. Why does that always make me laugh?
Or Neptune? I forget which two now.
Oh,
we did listen to Taylor and Ruhip earlier today from Earth Awakenings.
That sounded awful.
Oh, my condolences.
The same
Yeah,
reaction.
really.
Poor Taylor.
How'd it go to Taylor Crush?
Oh, it's the one that was recorded where she did the refraction.
Yeah,
Terrestrial refraction.
I seem to recall
he
her
rage
just
quit.
tearing him up.
Yeah, I got all this peer-reviewed paperwork and all these observations here that are saying it's a temperature, and you got your buddy gave you a code. Okay, all right, man, all right. I see how it is, Ruhip. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a Python program.
I wrote a code that puts in Earth curve at 7/6R, bitch. What? Well, here's my peer-reviewed paper. Ruh's favorite thing is 7/6R. He loves it so much, dude. I can't believe that he hit a refraction fight and I missed it.
Well, if you just plug in the code, you'll find out that I'm right. But I got a peer-reviewed paper and observations that say you're wrong.
Hey, you want to see me bend a line at exactly 7/6R? Because I can do it. Matter of fact, I can write a code that'll do it automatically.
Speaking
at
of
different
bending
latitudes.
things, Shane, speaking of bending things at 7/6R, how about our boy Vambi coming through with the boundary interface Prezi, showing that a homogeneous medium doesn't create the image lifting necessary to put something over a curve.
He showed us to reframe the celestial theodolite observation as a geometric intersection of the boundary layer of the refraction. That's actually what have to happen. So, like, the actual process for identifying it, like, I think he really just elucidated what we already knew, and he put it in a nice framework. Right? We haven't actually looked it up that hard. But also, dude, he answered a super hard question that I came up with on the spot about his presentation, which I thought was super impressive.
She asked him, so like, can you give me the equation for that? And he goes, I got the code here. He's like, yeah, but can you just give me the equation?
Dude, I can get 7/6R. I'll give it to you right now. Did he not want
to
say
do
it? Did he not want to say it out loud?
He wouldn't do it. He's all like, no, you just got to use this code, man. I'll give it to you.
All you gotta do is approximate the radius of a theoretically curving Earth, and boom, it works every time, all the time.
And I ain't gonna lie, man. I ain't gonna lie. It turned out this is what he said. You just don't understand what you're reading.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's like one step above. Yeah, but you're a girl.
I mean, that's typically all you hear from these guys, man. It's refraction, gravity, or you don't understand what you're reading.
Yeah. Well, dude, when we first came around and we started throwing here's a list of 87 PDFs that talks about the ether and the ether drift and the speed. And they were like, they're all quacks. We were like, what? What? We just cited 73 different papers that we read most of between us that support the thing we're saying, and now you're like, but you have no evidence. We're like, what? What? But there's
rejected all.
Yeah, they're like, behold, dismissed. We're not gonna look at any of that. That's garbage. Those are garbage papers. We're like, what? You didn't even look at one of them. How can you, in good conscience, dismiss all of the citations that we painstakingly created as a list to present to back up the things that we just said? We were so taken aback. I was like, what? And it's like, oh, I slowly came to realize that I don't give a shit about the truth. They're not even listening to anything that you're saying. They're just waiting for you to finish so they can preach the next gospel, as Bruce puts it all the time.
They're brainwashed. They're stuck.
Yeah, I don't get that shit, man. It's like, I mean, why are you even here? Just to call me stupid and I don't understand stuff and refraction?
Dude, and even the ones that would Google how to title of paper approved wrong stupid, right? And they try to Google that, and they come back with the AI stuff that's like, here's what ChatGPT said and why you're stupid. It's like, okay, well,
I've never heard of this before. Let me do a quick Google search, and in 5 seconds, I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah, let me just go regurgitate Google as my own opinion on this subject so I can seem like I did my research or whatever. It's like, it's so funny. Well, I call them Google Earthers. And you can tell there's a lot of them on Twitter who like answer like complicated posts with like Wikipedia says the Ether was disproven. Man. It's like, okay, bro.
There's some of that are pretty good, but there's very rare that I actually laugh at. But the ones that said, if I wanted your opinion, I could just Google it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I made that one at some point, or at least I stole it from someone way before anyone else.
I definitely stole it.
Yeah,
I don't.
There's one with my logo on it from way back that I keep using because it's one of the funniest. It's like, why are you talking, bro? If I wanted your opinion, I would just Google it. Like, there's no need for you. It's like, oh, that's kind of true.
I have a couple of questions on the celestial theodolite. People have been asking me about it, and I shared the spreadsheet, and I even gave them a link to all the recordings on Alan's YouTube channel, so that they can listen to it and whatever. And they're asking me questions. Does he have it? Does he have his methodology written down on anything? Is there a link for that?
Yeah, there's
Where
several
he's laid this
PDFs.
out?
Yeah, his first couple PDFs pretty much describe the process, and then his next PDFs kind of summarize the process in the beginning, and then eventually he just referred to it as the process and started doing its updates, directing it, whatever little thing. So the most recent ones, I don't think have it, but any of the beginning ones do. We have a whole archive, definitely.
Well, I mean, just for the experiment in general.
Yeah.
There's people saying, doesn't he, if this is an experiment, doesn't he have it spelled out what he's doing and what his methodology is and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I don't have a link to that.
Oh, that's on Alan's database at some point. Here's this link.
Okay, I'll have to.
Celestial theodolite process and methodology. Here we go. That took about 1 second. Here we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, seeing as how we got you guys in here, I mean, we do a pretty good job, kind of going over it a little bit and explaining it. But if you want to go over the premise of it and the setup, and what's actually going on there, why this celestial theodolite is such a damning blow to the globe. I don't know if everybody down there's heard it all.
Yeah. Physical occlusion timing is giving you actual flat Earth predictions on mountain heights and distances in real world scenarios. Turns out every time you have to accommodate for Earth curve over any certain distance, that you don't actually accommodate for Earth curve, and any prediction you make for the globe would be off by the amount that you don't account for Earth curve. That about sums it up. So it's an overwhelming proof that there is no physical Earth curve.
My favorite part of this story is that Dr. Heffron apparently was in there talking about the ether, and he thought, do these guys think this Earth is flat? Is there a contention with refraction? And he went out there to go prove you guys wrong, and he came back a flat earther.
Yeah, he was like, what is this garbage about the origins of refraction always curving just at the rate of a theoretical Earth curve? He was like, that's bullshit. How am I ever going to find out if Earth is curving with this shit all over the place? And he was like, aha, you know what I'll do? Is I'll try to remove this bad that'll always be here, and I'll try to remove terrestrial refraction from an observation, and we'll try to accommodate for it mathematically using predictive math for both globe and flat, and we'll see what happens. And he made observation after observation after observation, and he was like, well, I'm a flat earther now. And because he was already writing about ether, he had no shame, and he was open about it. He was like, well, I'm a flat earther now. We were like, okay, cool, nice. You want to come argue with nerds about it?
So he's a pretty smart guy, right? He's a pretty smart guy. He's got some sheepskins on the wall, right?
I think he's got a PhD in computer science.
So you're saying a guy that believes in the globe with a PhD can't even go out there and prove it's a globe? That's how hard it is to prove it's a globe?
He's doing a great job at proving it's not a globe.
My goodness. I mean, I don't get the pushback on this. I really don't.
Well, first they were like, no credentialed PhD person would ever support you guys. That's retarded. And then we're like, well, here's a credentialed PhD, wrote a couple books, a guy who supports our exact position, actually converted himself to our position all by himself, and then presented this new scientifically backed method by which he deduced our position and gave it to us as an argumentative tool. Like, okay, cool, great. No shit.
And a logical
our
device.
position.
At the same time, he gave us this brilliant logical device about nullifying a negative hypothesis.
So
or
now-
actually invalidating the null hypothesis.
That's the great thing about this is he went with that null hypothesis, trying to eliminate the flat Earth. It's all like, you know, if I can't prove it's a globe, let's eliminate this competition. And he couldn't do it.
Even though he wrote 4 books and one of them was about the ether, he's obviously a quack now. So that's why we'll just dismiss everything that guy says, and then we'll get to go back to saying that, hey, nobody with any credentials supports you guys' position. And we'll just keep chanting that.
Isn't that what Ruhev said? Is that, he's a shill or something.
He's in good company then, because Houghton Arp's a quack, and
the Globe Lads.
Yeah.
The Globe Lads became conspiratorial, dude. So Mike is a plant who bought his house 11 or 15 years ago. Yeah, 11 or 15 years ago to set all this up to ruse us at this exact moment. Yeah, dude, the long con.
He was
bro.
so good with it, dude. How he
it's Frank Abagnale Jr.'s son, dude.
How did he find? I think he was just commenting on your YouTube because you like the papers you were reading at some point. And he just filtered his way in.
No, our librarian found him, and then
Eric, right?
Yeah, and he was like into Aether, so I emailed him and I was like, "Yo, you want to do a Prezi on Aether? This is my channel. By the way, I think I said like that I was a flat earther, but like if that's gonna be a problem or whatever." And he was like, "I don't care."
Did you were like, listen?
Yeah,
just want to let you know.
I got tired, dude. I got tired of setting things up for Witsit, and then the guy would like find out he's a flat earther, and then be like so it's like Friday rolls around when it's about to be an event, and the dude emails and he's like, "Yeah, so I'm not gonna be able to make it because the Earth's actually a globe, and you're all fucking idiots."
Yeah, or like, hey, I just googled.
I was doing business with you.
I just googled this guy, and I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm just gonna not. How's that? Yeah. You know what? No. I get it. Yeah, so
I'd love to come on and talk satellites with you, but like your difference in coordinate system shape is too much.
Well, you put it out there from the beginning, and he was probably like, "Oh, I'll help these poor lads come to their senses," right? And then he came to hang out with us, and he was like, "Oh my god, they're all right."
Dude, well, he came around when you were doing your optics prezzies, and he started retweeting your stuff like really quickly. He was like,
"Oh, look at Dr. Mike over here."
He was like, "There seems to be a relationship between optical curve and what we're calling ball curve. I have to look more into this."
Yeah, and then now we can scientifically frame it as a null hypothesis with Earth curve being specifically tied to astronomical measurements, geodetic corrections, and stellar observations. If you can't show me Earth curve absent those things, I'm not interested. And it turns out every example heralded of Earth curve invokes one of those things specifically, always and forever. So
if I get my Zenith now.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that you had told him ahead of time that you were a flat earther. I thought I didn't know that he knew we were flat earthers at all.
I know when he popped around, we knew we were like, he's a glober, and then no one ever said anything about it to him ever once. Like, we never addressed it. We never tried to convince him. No one ever was like, you know what's cool? Earth curve, no water bubble, bro. Where you at? It's flat, stupid. Like, nobody ever did any of that to him. And then on his own, he came around by giving us a whole new concocted method. It was it was very nice and peaceful. And by the time we even thought about it, we were like, oh God, did he just say he's a flat earther? Like, oh, who did that? Nah, man, he did it himself. Oh, just hanging around. Sweet.
I mean, that's how it happens, man. Everybody's like, convince me. I can't convince you, man.
Yeah.
You're going to convince yourself or lie to yourself, one of the two.
Yeah, and then he immediately put us all to shame. Because how many personal methods of falsifying globe curve have you contributed to flat Earth, bro?
None.
Yeah,
None.
me either. I'm at 0. This dude's already coming in with a solid 1.
comes out
Came
with
in by taking the stars, dude, and in all celestial bodies. It turns out.
He put forth stuff that took us like 9 months to even comprehend via copious spreadsheets and overnight stuff and tons of talking and figuring out and having full access to the dude to ask him any questions we ever wanted at any time and have him always answer. Still took us 9 months to get it. So
We still learn more about it every day.
yeah, especially when we see the opposition try to squirm away from it, which is really what the defense has been. No one stood up and been like, you know what? I accept your math. Here's my math. They've gone, here's your math. And they've been like, blue, blue, and then it's just fallen. And they've been like, oh, you know what? I don't want to use math anymore. What I'm going to do is intensely avoid and obfuscate and do everything I can to avoid that math fight that I didn't like at the very beginning. And we're going to pretend that that doesn't exist this whole time. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Dude, speaking of math and triangles, I seen someone put forward a refutation to Man of Stone's video on the shadow sets and the fact that the sun doesn't invert, doesn't create that inverted angle, meaning that it's going below the horizon. It was quite a refutation.
Tell me it wasn't Apparel.
Have you guys heard about it? That was from It was from a guy named Roundhound.
Oh, the rowdy. Go to it.
What do you do? What do you do? Wait a
minute. He's been in here the last like 4 weeks.
Dude, yeah. So if you go to Man of Stone's video on shadow sets, if you go to the top comment, you'll see a post from Roundhound where it says "nuh-uh."
That is the BitChute version. Go to the BitChute post of that one, not the Rumble. That was
shit. I had never considered that, to be honest.
Yeah, that is the issue. And then there's one on time dilation that Stone did, and you could find a pretty good refutation to that one on there. Where if you control F and look for Roundhound, you'll see it where it says "nuh-uh" with an exclamation point.
Yeah, well, that's a couple thoughts about Einstein on BitChute too. Yeah,
that's pretty devastating, man. How are you gonna refute that in Stone?
That is devastating.
You should check my replies, man. It's worth it. It's worth it. I'll be right back. I'm grabbing a bevy.
Man, I see that guy's inconsolable. He just turns into stupid mush.
It's all right. He comes at me in the threads all the time. So the next time he talks shit on one of my replies, I'm just gonna say, well, to quote my friend Roundhound, nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny when I see Ken arguing because all I see is Ken's answer and then nothing, and then Ken's answer to some other question and then nothing, and then Ken's answer to some other shit that I can't
Same.
And I'm like, yo, Ken, you got him.
I see Ken out there shadow boxing ghosts, and then I'll go and like unmute the conversation and read through it occasionally, and Ken's just like decimating some troll, like
Yep.
Some dude's just arguing his way into a wet paper bag. It's crazy.
Well, they don't even listen to the answers. They don't read the answers. They keep on saying the same shit over and over again. There's no possible way you read that. You didn't.
Yeah. So it turns out having them blocked and only reading your friend's answers is exactly the same as not having them blocked and reading their garbage nonsense. So it's
dude, there is an invariance between frames.
Like there literally is no difference between the two. So that you get to choose your life or whatever, you know?
Yeah, when they're blocked though, I don't have to really deal with them, so that's a plus.
Yeah, I'm voting definitely.
You know, I will say real quick, I think it's absolutely hilarious that Alan and Shane have been gone for like 3 or 4 weeks, and Roundhound has been in here, and the week that Cage blocks Roundhound, they're back in here.
Dude, I tell you, man, I don't mind talking to these people, and if you have some pushback, I can handle some pushback. But don't come up with stupid questions. I mean, you made up a problem that doesn't even exist on this world record photo. Well, you need to tell me why this mountain looks bigger than this mountain. No, I don't. Well, if you can, it's a globe.
Well, I can tell you from arguing the celestial theodolite that Jesse and probably Troon is influencing everything that they say, because I hear all the same things. They come in and they say, somebody jumped in and said, "So tell us about how much he has to fudge the numbers to get it to match flat Earth." And I said, "Actually,
Zero.
we don't have to fudge a thing." I said, "If you look at the spreadsheet that I gave you, you can see that flat Earth has one prediction, rise over run. It never changes. We don't add or take anything away from it. It's just rise over run. And then you can look down at the globe Earth predictions and you can see over a half dozen different predictions. Everything from raw to celestial or terrestrial refraction or both. I said they've got all kinds of, because they even accuse us of using the wrong globe numbers. And I say,
Yeah,
well, then you
that's
can take it up with the Globers, because the Globers come in and say what should be used, and they add that in. So if you got a problem with a globe Earth prediction, talk to your own people. And they don't buy it. They think we're fudging the numbers, and that's what Jesse was saying there for a little while.
Yeah,
That
Jesse went
that
on
we're fudging
McToon
it.
and he said that loudly and confidently, and McToon repeated it. And now anyone who's seen that show just confidently repeats, "Well, you guys just fudged all the numbers. There's a fudge factor. You guys said so, obviously." Debunked. Debunked. It's like, oh yeah, but you haven't even looked at the spreadsheet. You don't even know if there is a factor. All you can see is which prediction is correct. Always the flat Earth rise over run. Never any additional corrections required to get there. And every which way you calculate globe is always wrong. It's never as close as the flat Earth, especially not over the consistent data set, which is the whole point. And the reason there's so many different globe predictions is because every time the globe wasn't right, they weren't like, "Oh, you know what? You guys are right. The Earth's flat. Holy shit. Fucking never thought about it. The math, that's it." They were like, "You know what? You're not doing the globe right, damn it. You guys are just retarded. You're not doing it." And then they come up with, "All right, instead of d squared over 2r, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the cosine of the coefficient back from the long arc, and we're going to take the small arc." And they come up with their own. It's like, okay, it doesn't matter. Everything that they come up with is for each situation. Even if they came up with a custom globe prediction combination of terrestrial and celestial refraction, then it wouldn't consistently work for the next observation. Right, the next observation, when we just did rise over run, they'd have to do something different to make it match, and that was the whole point.
Didn't Jesse get him as close as they could get with his little bullshit observation that he made, where he used a flat
Nope.
Earth and some celestial refraction?
Well, he found
well, it uses a different method too, right? Because like the only way to like refute what's been done is through rhetoric, and then also conflating the method with another method. So in terms of the position of the true position of the star and the peak from which the star emerged, the flat Earth prediction, it's closer to ours for the true position. Now, the apparent position, based on refraction at that location, is 3 times the amount of drop over distance that they predict, like in terms of what it would be for lift. And that puts the apparent position, which is using a different method, at the closer to the angle where they would predict physically. But that's literally a different scenario. It has nothing to do with the physical cause of the occlusion, which is the intersection of the true position and the peak. So the fact that there was a spot where the curvature and refraction conditions, canceled each other out essentially, doesn't mean anything. But he uses that to say that it gives globe and yada yada results, but that's conflating 2 methods, because it doesn't, right? We don't use that method for confirming globe stuff. When you apply that method for other scenarios for the globe, it's not even close. But using our method with the true position, it's closer every time.
Yeah, he
So,
does
like Shane was saying,
he does sneaky things
So-
like redefine what we're doing and then call it his method. He's like, "Look what they're doing," and it's like, "No, that's what Jesse did, a different thing, and then called it our thing, and then compares it with his thing." And he's like, "Look who's more correct." And it's like, how dishonest can you be? But yeah, no, it's. I think what you have to go up against, Ken, is you already know all the answers to all the things they say, and they still just don't care. So I guess to be able to argue it to completion with them and then have them just go, "Nuh-uh, McToon said," I guess is where the best you can hope for. Especially when you present a new argument that they can't actually Google an answer to be like, well, let me just see why flat Earth is stupid again over here on my, like, you know, like it doesn't work with custom arguments that don't have a
Shane.
rhetoric answer.
Speaking of a new custom argument, didn't one of the lads use the celestial theodolite in an eclipse to determine the altitude of the sun?
I think our boy Llama. I think he's saying, yeah, what you guys were doing with a physical occlusion timing of a mountain and a star is neat. What else can I do with that? Ooh, how about eclipses? An eclipse technically, so that the moon is in front of the sun, so that we can say the moon is occulting the sun. If we applied the same geometry and predictive stuff to that, we could maybe get some eclipse occlusion predictions for the path of the sun and the moon. And when he did that, he graphed it out, and it was completely flat. It was like every time you do the correct distance from the observation, the path of the sun is completely flat. Path of the moon is completely flat. So it almost coincides with what the celestial theodolite would show you, right? Is that the stars are in a plane above the Earth at flat Earth angles for everyone everywhere.
Yeah, I gotta go back and watch those because I came in late, number one, so I didn't catch all of his. I just caught part of it. But those were actually a couple of good presentations from what I saw.
But I took a airplane ride and I saw the curvature of the Earth. You guys are stupid.
You can't actually see it up at 32,000 feet, but you can see it on the right days over at Skunk Bay. If you look right across Lake Pontchartrain or whatever, you can see it on the Earth's surface, but only on the certain days. But you can't see it below 32,000 feet.
Speaking of ball curve and plane, I just flew recently, and I was looking out the window. I definitely saw ball curve this time. The last 2 times that I flew, I didn't see ball curve. I was like, definitely looks more on the flat side. But this time, there was significant ball curve on the flight.
Oh, yeah? How high were you up?
I don't know, the same altitude as last time. like 30,000 or something like that. Whatever the standard flight thing is for Southwest.
Definitely saw the ball curve, huh?
35 to 40,000 feet, right?
Sounds about right. Yeah, it was crazy, Nick. I was like, no way, that's geometric ball curve out there. I couldn't believe it.
Couldn't believe. I mean, yeah, that would be devastating to see, right?
Nah, it was refraction, dude.
See, this is what kills me. That if you're on a geometric ball, the higher you go up, the horizon shouldn't rise up with you. It should actually fall down.
But how would you see it through the contrast reduction at that altitude with those colors? You wouldn't be able to distinguish the top from the bottom.
Shut up, word salad.
Word salad.
Just
I saw the geometric ball curve. I did a contrast correction with my eyes.
Have you never been in a plane? I love that one.
Dude, there's like 7 reasons why you wouldn't be able to see it, like mathematically, logically, scientifically speaking, and they just literally tell you to shut up if you mention either one of them. It's so funny. Like, no, we can see forever because of stars, so we know that, if it, like, obviously we can see, that's what it is, right? That's how far our horizon goes.
Here's another question. When was the plane built, and were the windows changed with to prove that there's it's a globe?
Shy lens. I don't know if they still do that anymore, but even when I was a kid, I was noticing the windows had this little tiny hole in it. And I thought, boy, that seems pretty dangerous to have a hole in the window. But it turns out there's like this little centerpiece in there that will pop in and out as you get pressure in there, as the cabin pressure goes up and down. That way, when you land on the ground, you get it flat, and as you go up, you get the curve.
I think it's neat that there is no actual Earth curve anywhere, and if you go to measure it, you'll never find it with any physical device, any laser or anything. But what you will find is optical corrections for a linear loss over distance. That's a basic perspective facet. And then you can find that that's the exact equivalent rate at which they claim the globe to be curving. And then if you look at like how they factor in and measure Earth curve in any geodetic survey or astronomical or WGS-84 or satellite or anything, they're always going to reference this spherical coordinate system of latitude, longitude derived from angles to the stars and put into a spherical grid based on your hemispherical observation within a geocentric universe. Isn't that crazy?
That's what I was thinking.
Right.
That's how we know it's a ball.
That's how we know it's a globe. I was thinking that. Yeah.
So the only thing that blocks stars is ball curve. So
what you're saying is Earth's a globe.
If something were to be blocked off of the horizon because of a mountain peak, because that's an extension of the terrestrial ball, right? We could determine something about that angle of occlusion. Yes or no? Perhaps, sir? Anyone? No?
I mean, even with that Polaris thing there, where they want to go, 1 degree for every 69 miles, that theoretically should say that if you go far away, that Polaris should go below the horizon. You should be able to block with the Earth curve. But you can't do that either.
Well, see, the 69 miles per degree is Earth curve. That's what they're correcting for. It's all based on the stars. They're like, hey, see how that star processes based on our hemisphere observation? See what appears to rise and set? Well, boom, that's Earth curve right there, bro. If that Earth wasn't curved, you wouldn't see that. That's their whole position.
So wait,
boom.
Hang on, Shane. So what you're telling me is your evidence for us spinning is that we see stuff move over top of us?
And obviously, duh. And you're stupid if you don't see that. Yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah, that's why we love our position of kinematics versus dynamics, observations and predictions of motions versus the forces that move the motions. And we know the difference between the two. So when you confuse your empirical kinematic observation that can equally apply to both models based on the observation, but then have no reputation for the dynamic replacement, then it's laughable.
Word salad.
Word salad.
Yeah. Committing a massive reification in the process.
Oh, we do have a new guy up here. What's up, Nathaniel? How you doing? Yo, Nathaniel. Can you guys hear me? Can anybody hear me?
He can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, for sure.
Space has been really good.
Yeah. Problems.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, man.
There he is. What's up, Nathaniel? How you doing?
Hey, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I think it was a little while ago. Yeah, look, I think it's well, I used to work at I live in Australia. Yeah, a few years ago, I was working at a hospital, lost my job because of the jab mandate thingies, and then a few years later, I got another job in security, and then I found out that I think actually one of the owners of the security company I think is a flat earther. So I thought it was pretty cool, actually.
That's where you're going with this story?
That's what.
Okay.
Yeah, I was happy about that, so I think. But,
that's cool.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, hey Ken, didn't you have a question for an Australian? Nathaniel, you're Australian, right?
Yes. I also so that's just because I had had an idea of what an experiment you could do. Like say if you if you did it like you shot a sniper bullet over 3 miles, and then you sort of like had got to hit a target that's about say I don't know about a foot off the ground. So if you could hit a target that's well, that should be blocked by Earth curve. Then you could say, well, if you aim at a target that's below the rate of Earth curve and you could hit it, well, then wouldn't that prove that? Well, you couldn't aim at a refracted object and hit it. You would logically, you should.
Well, it turns out there was a dude that did a sniper rifle shot at over 4 miles.
4.4 miles.
4.4 miles.
Facing south by southwest.
And not only was he able to hit his target, but he didn't make that bullet bend over the curve and go down.
So was the target so should have that 4.4 miles been blocked by Earth curve on the way there, and then was that hit it, or was there? Yeah.
Yep. So they've already got the world record. That's a world record.
It's more of a Coriolis issue than a ball curve issue.
I just think if you can hit a target that's low enough, that's low enough to the ground, that it's further enough away that it should have been blocked by Earth curve, and you could.
It wasn't.
It
was up on the side. It was elevated, or it was up on the side of an incline. So I don't know the specific elevations, but like I said, it wouldn't necessarily be ball curve argument for the shot. It would be a Coriolis because he shot south by southwest. If there was Coriolis, you would want to shoot parallel to the direction of motion, so you would want to shoot east or west, where there would be the most where there would be the least effective Coriolis.
Yeah, but there still would be close to 11 feet of Earth curvature in that distance, probably a little bit more, depending on the elevation.
Yeah, but you're angling your gun up in the fucking bro. You're not even looking at the target at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty far. That's a distance. I agree. You got to aim up.
Yeah,
he went over his documentation for how he did it and all that. So,
man, it took that bullet 29 seconds to get to the target.
Yeah, it's a pretty good shot.
You remember when Stone did a presentation on the Felix Baumgartner jump, quantifying the distance about how the absence of Earth spin and rotation was apparent? And then McToon made a video about all of us saying that we didn't understand wind. That was funny. That was funny. That was good times.
You guys did see my response to that, right?
No, you're joking. Did he really?
Oh, he did, and then some. And I've actually put together one on Rumble. It's you're going to have to scroll down to the bottom of the second page of all of them now, because I put up the BitChute stuff.
So the wind was counteracting the Earth's spin, and he landed right where he landed, man.
But you'll see one where I call him a toxic clown. That's a dead giveaway on which video you should watch. And we go through it point by point. Plus, we get to the part after he says we don't understand wind, where he demonstrates his thorough inability to be able to even work the controls at bobwinds.com. And as he pretends to look for fast-moving winds at low elevations, identifying them as part of the jet stream in New Mexico, he then eventually finagles his way to showing the upper atmosphere wind, but doesn't know how to read the velocity scale and doesn't realize that he's looking at winds that are going about 200, 225 miles an hour. After I assert that they go to about 150 at another given elevation, and he says that I'm full of shit. But he's actually got it up on the screen and doesn't realize that what he's looking at is validation of exactly what I said and then some. It's a hilarious piece. I recommend you watch it.
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to. I can hardly stand that guy, but seriously, him and FTFE, I know that Globeslayer did something with FTFE a couple days ago, and I'm gonna watch that. But I seriously,
I think he regretted it immediately, and then he didn't even do any of the stuff that he said he would do, which was the reason he started to talk to him in the first place. The poor guy got FTFE'd. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, he sucks. He sucks real bad. So we got a new guy coming up here. So
cool.
Let's see. Let's see what Vambi's going on, man. What's up, Vambi? Welcome to the space, man. How you doing?
Vambi's the shit.
Uh-oh. Lost my co-host. You there, Vambi? Vambi.
You gotta unmute yourself.
And I gotta mute myself.
Yeah, I tell you, man. I don't like it when people request a mic and they don't say much. You're real nervous.
No, he's cool.
No,
He'll get it together.
Is
He just got to work the controls. Come on, B, you can do it.
Baby did a prez on Aether cause for our community thing, and it was awesome.
Oh, I start checking my jumbo
man.
horn when that happens.
No, he's fine. He's fine. He's from Aether gods.
Come on, B, we're rooting for you, man. Find that input.
Matter of fact, there should
You
be a
can do it.
giant red carpet that we should roll out for our gratuitous host, Bambi, who we should give thundering
think so.
applause as he comes on stage to grab a mic. And then we should all listen expectantly for a speech that I'm sure he has prepared to give us.
Well, I like the fact that he's up here now. Where you at, Bambi?
That's the attitude. There we go.
With an introduction like that, he's waving. He can. I think he can hear us. You got to unmute yourself, man. Are you on a PC? Does anybody know how to work a PC to get him
you
unmuted?
click the red button.
Lower left. Come on, you can do it, B.
Well, I can't put any more pressure on you that I could possibly think of in any social nature. I've done as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Too much
If it's
pressure.
not working out, B, why don't you just try leading the space and then coming back in and requesting the mic? We'll see if it works a second time.
It could always be Twitter fuckery. Like that's it always possibly happens in the background.
Don't put it past Elon for a
To be fair, I had to do that like 3 times today. This last time I came in.
There he goes.
2025 technology. It's a good thing we're not trying to call him on the moon or anything.
No, we need Nixon for that.
I am not a crook.
Or just move to China.
Dude, we got Daza and Coffee. The Globers rolled up. The Globers rolled up in force with all 2 of them. And
We got some Globies down there.
Yeah, I think Daza heard someone say GPS, and he had a little bit of a whatever, and decided to come listen. And now he can't help himself. And then Coffee probably came because he's Coffee. Who else we got down there? Anyone see
This
any
is a
other
safe
Globers?
space for Globies, man. I just want to let you know you'll be treated good.
No. Depending subjectively on which Globies, you may be treated with
Exactly.
the utmost disdain or welcomed warmly. It really depends. It's a wide range of expected.
Coffee doesn't understand half of what we talk about here, so let's not do the mic thing there, man. That's just cut your losses, man.
Come on, Coffee. I know you can. I know you know the difference between a solid mountain and a refracted mountain, and one can block a light.
If you can listen to Stone go through, 440 versus 432 and come away with your sister was there, I think you might be a little
a little impaired.
Yeah.
Are you there, Vambi?
Dude, is that Orwell? Why don't we listen for him instead?
What's up, Orwellian?
Yeah, there's an idea.
Right? Isn't that just better for everyone?
Are you there, Orwellian?
Yeah, I'm here.
We lost B again.
Telling you, Twitter Spaces. You gotta love them.
Twitter fuckery. We should name it. Call it what it is.
That's how dangerous and difficult it is to exist in space.
You know what it is, though? It's the danger was actually inherent in the fluctuation of the coordinate system itself, and it wasn't in any differential because the speed of light is constant, so that couldn't happen otherwise.
Yeah. So how you been, Orwellian?
I'm good. Just wrapping up this bridge season here. Last week of craziness just ended, so I just get to set girders until it gets too cold to do that and figure out what else I want to do with my life for the winter. But yeah, doing good, man. Just got done watching the kids beat the shit out of each other with boxing gloves on.
Nice. Nice. I was gonna say, isn't it about to start getting cold over there?
Yeah, it's like 40 in the morning now.
40. Might as well be freezing.
You just scoff at 40.
That's pretty close.
Man, 40
No.
degrees. I ain't dealing with no 40 degrees.
Are you like 40 ain't nothing, or 40 so much nothing that I ain't getting out of bed?
40, I ain't even dealing with it.
Still have no idea what
Shit, 40 ain't even close. It gets below 40 up here sometimes.
Man, it hits 75 degrees. I'm putting a jacket on.
Holy cow!
I live in the sun.
I can't do that. I'd be dying.
You gotta live near that equator and not go any further.
He's in Arizona, so don't hold it against him.
Yeah, I live on the sun, man.
I know I went and hung out with him down there. I was dying. And I'm from New Mexico. It was fucking hot. No, man, just chilling. I've been playing with the camera a little bit more. That's been fun. I've had some time to actually use it. I bought it over a year ago, so that's been a good time.
Yeah, I saw your moon pits looking pretty good. Getting harassed in the timeline still, or what?
Yeah, shit's funny. Everybody's got a block now, but Flurfurter has been trolling my work pictures. Obviously CGI, photoshopped, and what the hell's that other annoying dude's name? That she got blocked. Came in all the time. Doesn't matter. Anyways, they've been having fun with it, but yeah, they'll be like, "This is Masonic theater. It's trolling," and it's actually kind of funny what he's been doing lately. But yeah, there's still anytime I post anything real, obviously fake CGI. There's 13 clouds in the sky. He's clearly in the club, like that type of shit. It's been funny.
Mic test. There it goes. Finally.
Got it.
Kicking ass. What
I
up,
finally
E?
figured it out. Sorry about that, guys. It's my bad.
I knew you could do it.
Thank you.
What
Technology,
did I tell you,
man.
What did I tell you?
It's my first time on Twitter, so.
Welcome to the
Well,
cesspool.
welcome.
Yeah, shit's better with friends or whatever.
Yeah, I just gave you a follow, so.
Okay, but keep in mind that after you log off, you're going to have this sort of
The stink, this feel,
grimy,
this oily
sort
thing.
of a
Yeah.
grimy feeling. That's what this is from. You be ready for that.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, we get some slimy, greasy globies in here, man.
No, I mean the platform in general.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. I agree. Better than Facebook, though, so there's that.
I don't know. If you post like dope
Way to
memes
set the bar.
and then don't read any other comments, it seems to be okay. Like if you perfected the art of not giving a shit, Twitter can be all right.
Yeah. You just got to know the block button and the mute button.
I don't even like mute. That means that I personally won't see all the diarrhea that you're gonna put all over this wonderful piece of truth that I'm gonna present to the community. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color it so I can't see all the shit that you put everywhere, but everyone else who comes by will certainly see that you defecated all over my night's truth nugget. So I don't like muting. I think it's either block or nothing.
Yeah, I kind of feel that, man. It gets old, man. It gets old.
Like if you're gonna offer a substantive like argumentation of any sort, I'll just leave it and argue with you or whatever. But if you're just gonna like shit everywhere every time and never engage with the post, like block, get out of here, stop circle jerking or whatever. Virtue jerking, circle jerking. All they do is they'll combine and go, flat earthers are so stupid because of X, and it's like, yeah, you didn't answer any of the math, any of the prediction, nothing that I put it up. Like, and then some other guy will be like, thumbs up. Yeah, I know, and they don't even have a map. And you're like, see, now you guys are just literally here jerking each other off, talking about nothing. And it's like, and then everyone will, it just becomes this big public like virtue jerk where nobody says anything and they all congratulate each other.
You don't have a map, and then they won't even come in here and grab it. It's like, you know what? I don't want to argue in the timeline, man. You want to argue? Get in here. I ain't got time for this shit.
So B, what's the story?
I was actually thinking when you guys were talking about seeing curvature flying, in an airplane, I was wondering. Well, first off, if you Google it, Google says that you can see the curvature at like 35,000 feet or whatever. But then like Neil deGrasse Tyson will say you got to be much higher. And then I think I've heard other claims. So the question is, what is the actual height that you would see the curvature of the Earth?
Ooh, I
think it depends. It depends purely on the strain that you're smoking at the time.
pretty much. So there's a paper by a guy named David Lynch that's titled something about measuring the curvature of Earth from altitude, and what he says is from 35,000 feet to 40,000 feet is where you can see ball curve, and as you increase in altitude, he interviews other pilots. He basically goes through a series of circumstantial anecdotal evidence from pilots where he's like, you know, this pilot said he saw a ball curve. You know, this pilot's an SR-37 Blackbird pilot. He says he saw a ball curve at this altitude. So he talks about the different altitudes in which you can see ball curve and like the lowest altitude. So like that's something that they could reference like academically or whatever, you know, because it's within their paradigm, irrespective of what Neil deGrasse Tyson says, talking about the scale, which is like, you know, correct, because you're never going to see ball curve, right? You're never going to get high enough off ball to see ball curve.
Yeah, but dude, in the historical context, though, what happened was they set up a balloon. They set up a card at like 100 and whatever, 18,000 feet. They were like, looks pretty flat to me. They were like, no. It turns out you can't see it at that high. They were like, okay, flyers were like, okay, set up their own balloon, went to the top of the horizon, did like 18, 20, 23,000 feet. They were like, no, you definitely can't see it from that height. And they were like, okay, all right, 32,000 feet cruising over of a plane. They're like, no, all right, maybe somebody at that point that you can see it. Like that's how the evolution went, right? And then they were like, no, actually, let's write a paper and look into it and see if it's really real.
So what? My next question is, so like, what are you claiming you're seeing? Like, how are you seeing ball curve? Is it on the peripheral of your vision? Is it the bending edges, or is it like a drop, a horizon dip? Is that what they're measuring? Like, how would you even see curvature at that distance?
Oh, who knows, dude?
Right.
Well,
yeah.
Dude, it depends on the lens and the height and the focus, all sorts of stuff. Like your actual frame of view. I think even at the corners in the rectilinear lens, you're gonna see like some optic drop off, which because of the basis of the limit of your vision being the same in every direction, the radius at a straight line would yield a peripheral circle, so to speak. So that would create the appearance of the drop off in every direction, which would make it look the same. So,
right. Yeah.
Like I was saying, that if you could, you know, if you're smoking shit that's called, you know, Maui Wowie or Joe's Bunk or what was in the drawer yesterday, then you got to go way the fuck up past the Kármán line to see ball curve, dude. But if you're smoking something that's called like, I forgot my address or where's my other foot? If you're smoking that, then you could come down into the 5 digits, I think. You know, right? You know?
Gotcha. Yeah.
It could help you out.
it's funny because the math at ground level between, I always say this, between the sphere, the parabola, and the linear approximation, but under 100 meters is all the same. It's equivalent whether you do 8 inches per mile squared or y over x or any of the three, like the parabolic, the spherical, and the linear within that little tiny metric are all the same. So when they say, look, 8 inches per mile squared optically, see how when you look through this theodolite, you see how much missing bottom we have? That's how much earth curve there is, right? That's the trick that they're doing. They're being like, well, because it disappears linearly and we know the height, we know that we can approximate it with 8 inches per mile squared to give you the exact geometric earth drop that image is missing. Behold, I present to you earth curve at ground level, right? And then immediately they're like, oh, but you can't see it at ground level, if you guys remember what we were talking about before. So
Right. Wow. Yeah. Just completely disregarding perspective.
Yeah, and like actually, see all that perspective? That's earth curve. Actually, that's where all the earth curve is. I know you said you couldn't find it. Like boom, right there. You see how it drops off linearly, exactly as it would on a flat plane. See how it appears to disappear bottom up based on the observer height as a factor that, you know, unequal angles can't compress equally. So then, if you're closer to the bottom, then you have unequal angle compression so that the top would disappear slower than the bottom naturally. You can repeat that if you go into a hallway and do the observer height towards the top, or if you approach a tall building, the top of the floors will disappear first and you get top-down obstruction. So it's really an optical effect of linear compression that you can easily replicate and prove. So then if that's not physical geometric Earth curve and you can replicate it optically, then I think that the whole globe argument at surface level is kind of null and void.
Yep. Well said.
That's why we don't bother talking about Earth curve at surface level with globers typically. It's very boring because that's all most people talk about, and it's like equal either way. Like you'll never convince anyone. We've seen so much that it'll they'll never accept it. You can argue refraction endlessly. So 7/6R will always fix it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, and that's why we started talking about the celestial theodolite, because Dr. Mike was like, "Ooh, looking into refraction, turns out it's unfalsifiable. I'm gonna come up with a testable method where we can remove that unfalsifiable factor and see what we come up with." And it turns out it's flat every time, and he convinced himself to be a flat earther.
One of my goals in the short term is to be able to concisely explain the celestial theodolite method. I don't think I'm quite there. I mean, I do understand the backbones of it, or I guess I kind of do, but I do want to be able to articulate that because it's
just look them straight in the eye and say, "Google confirmed triangle, dude."
No, try to.
It's all about the triangle.
Try to do it. Try to make a meme with it, dude. Because honestly, when I tried to make a visual to show somebody something, I learned so much more about it. And then I had to go replicate the calculations. Then you understand the internalization of what the geometric drop is. You start recognizing the factors. Go try to make your own personal meme with it to show people, and then when you're explaining it, you'll definitely understand.
Yeah, build your own graphic and improve your fluency instantly. For sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Which we can always help you with, by the way, whatever.
We got this very patient guy who's been standing there with his hand up. His name's Carmine. I'm kind of curious what's going on there.
What's up there, Kaboxy?
Hey. I would like to know what your thoughts are on 3i Atlas. What kind of curvature is it hiding behind?
I don't know what I said.
Well,
what is it?
Sorry, go on, Brian. The story with 3i Atlas, I find it highly suspicious because this late October date of the 30th plays prominently into the lore concerning Mars and the sun being the closest approach of this object. October 29th, 30th this month, 50 years ago, there was a made-for-TV movie called The Night That Panicked America, and that aired on Halloween night. And 37 years prior to that, Orson Welles did his broadcast, War of the Worlds. And that was on the 30th. I'm kind of thinking, wow, what are the odds?
What was the movie title more recently again?
The Night That Panicked America. It was a made-for-TV film that documented the radio broadcast by Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater when he went to air with War of the Worlds, and people thought it was real. There was stories of suicides even. It's hard to really substantiate them, but there was panic. It was definitely an event. I just find that the timings, and considering that September 30th was supposed to be the disclosure deadline regarding aliens. Date came and went, but who knows what they got in store for Halloween. Avi Loeb from Harvard. That's who we're getting the story from, and some of his friends. I saw him interviewed on Ross
fish,
Coulthard,
okay, swimming around in the water.
Nation guy.
And then one day, a couple of fish had a retard baby, and the retard baby was different, so it got to live. So retard fish goes on to make more retard babies, And then one day, a retard
weird.
baby
The only
fish
hit I'm
crawled
getting
out of the
at Pirate
ocean with its
Bay is,
mutant fish
Beatles
hands,
section
and
of
it
2014
had butt
called
sex
The
with a
Night That
squirrel or
Changed
something and
America.
made this retard frog squirrel. And then
Maybe I
that
should
had
go
a
to
retard
MDD
baby, which was a
instead.
monkey fish frog. And then this monkey fish frog had butt sex with that monkey, and that monkey had a
when did
mutant
this come
retard
out?
baby that screwed another monkey, and
1975
that
was
made
the,
you.
made-for-TV film, The
Oh,
Night
shit.
That Panicked
Oh,
America.
sorry, everyone. My bad.
Yeah, 1975. Vic Morrow, Cliff DeYoung. Apparently, they redid it in 2005. John Ross, Orson Welles.
Ooh, I
That's
had no
the
idea.
doc. Is that the doc? Hold on, let me get that over there to you.
Another one. I had no idea.
Yeah, it is the documentary from John Ross in scoring a 6.3 out of 10. But I don't have the date on that. It was 2005 or whatever it was. Yeah. Anyways, back to 1975. Yeah, this is a drama, I guess a reenactment of the Orson Welles night.
Yeah, this was a docudrama.
Cool. Yeah, there's a couple famous people in there.
What's the question about it?
Gotta watch that.
Vic Morrow's the actor that got decapitated on the set of Twilight Zone.
Oh shit! Really?
Yep.
After 1975?
That was in the 80s. Hell, I'll just click on Vic Morrow.
And Twilight Zone? Oh, you mean the movie, the Twilight
movie,
Zone?
yeah, the Twilight Zone movie. That's right.
Shit. Now it's about. It's been a long
yeah.
time since I've seen that one.
Directed by John Landis, 1982.
Yeah, I think Shatner was in that too, wasn't he?
Let me see the cast. Let's see.
Oops. 59.
John Lithgow.
83. Dan Aykroyd. Albert Brooks. Wow. Who else we got in here? And Vic Morrow, yep. Dan Aykroyd, Doug McGrath, Charles Mann, Rainer Pierce, Guy Walsh, everybody.
Interesting. You know, Dan Aykroyd's really big on the whole alien thing, eh?
Oh, he sure is. Oh, that's weird. I don't see Shatner in here. I must have been thinking of Shatner's actual appearance on the original TV show, Twilight Zone. Not to worry. Just a side thought. Yeah, cool.
I thought we were gonna have a Glober. I was excited. I'm sorry. I wanted a Glober to argue with, but I guess there's no more. Dude, were you saying that every other week that we didn't come here, there were Globers here talking to you, and then when we showed up, none of them came? Is that what somebody said?
Yeah, there were a couple in the last couple of weeks. We've had a couple, specifically Roundhound.
Well, isn't that suspicious?
Well, Roundhound's not in because I got sick and tired of him, and the last time I talked to him, he was just over talking me and just being a jackass. It's like, man, if this you obviously have a problem with the internet and people on it, so I'm gonna help you out.
Yeah, the problem with the internet is people can't get punched in the face, and so people act as if they'll never get punched in the face, and it's really
Wisdom of Mike Tyson.
It's really
Yeah,
frustrating.
By the way, Brian, you ever consider why it is that Flat Earth Society decided to advance this whole Earth is being accelerated at 9.8 meters per second squared? Wonder why they would.
Because Brian Cox says it.
Well,
it's a shill organization, man.
If you want to befuddle the masses, you can confuse kinematics with dynamics and say, actually, knowing that it doesn't matter either way, the measurement is up and observed motion with vector addition. Basically, you can do it in either way. So understanding kinematics, I can say, ooh, equally, the forces go in the other direction, it's acting in the way. People go, ooh, means something different. No, it doesn't. It's the same observation. You still need the dynamic framework to interpret and understand it.
So it begs the question then, why would they take the trouble to discredit the model by associating it with that kind of nonsense, right? That means there's got to be something to...
Well, yeah, there's a lot of flat earthers that love that just like the people who I find to be disruptors who just decide to sow drama and do Discord and do nonsense stuff, those are the people who try to bring it up and insert it into conversations. And they're even on Discord. They're like Flat Earth on Discord people. And there's if you were to do a Venn diagram of interrupters and people who like to spawn drama and people who like to insert things like upward rising Earth, it's usually the same people in all three of those categories. It's a strange Venn diagram.
Yeah, Venn diagrams are getting a lot more complex these days, aren't they? Look at hollow Earth, concave Earth. I think I've lost count of how many different models there are.
No, but it's easy, right? Because how many Hollywood movies, TV shows, Amazon specials are there about Hollow Earth, dinosaurs, and all like like all the Nazi stuff, real, the super energy, aliens, reptilian, all movies and movies everywhere. And then how many movies about flat Earth you see? All right, well, which one's probably part of the bullshit Hollywood lore, and which one's probably being hidden?
How exciting would a movie about flat Earth be? The Earth is flat. I mean, you're not going to the center of the Earth. You're not falling through any time portals or anything. You're like, nope.
No dinosaurs, no time portals, no second suns, no lizard race, no evolution, no nonsense. It's crazy. I hate it.
However,
you can just take a stroll and you just keep walking and it's flat and stuff. And you're like, here's flat Earth, man.
You go past the ice wall.
There was
alternate reality, quantum.
There was that film Dark City.
Just imagine what that movie would have been like, the journey to the center of the Earth, if it had actually been titled Journey Through the Firmament.
Oh.
I was just going to say Firmament would be cool. A flat Earth movie could be really cool, I think, actually, if done right, like an epic. You could travel past the ice wall to other lands.
Dude, you remember there was this trailer of like Picard going around of him like rocketing through the water shield up top and then to like the unknown, and nobody knew, and it was really theatrical and it had no ending and nobody really knew where it came from, and it was from this film festival that someone made about, and that became like the trailer for the flat Earth movie that everybody wanted to see that never got made. Is what happens.
I've never seen that.
Oh man, I'll go find it. It's like
Picard. Are you talking about the Hennessy commercial?
Yeah, maybe that's where it came from, because it was super theatrical of him like rocketing upward through like the liquid barrier into like a whole area of unknown. Yeah. And then they link it to Picard and they go, look at, exploring the new unknown, or whatever the fucking slogan was or whatever.
Put it up top.
All right, let me see.
Hey.
Didn't Picard say it's flat recently in an interview or something?
Yeah, with an upturned edge.
It looks flat with upturned edge.
Oh, you mean Shatner? Yeah, he reconfirmed what he said.
Patrick Stewart was in a film from 1985 called Life Force. Anyone see that film, Life Force?
Rings a bell.
This naked vampire chick from space.
Yeah, it kind of does ring a bell. But...
yeah, he was in that.
Dude, TM nailed it. This is exactly the video that I mentioned. It took you 0.4 seconds to find it. That's how well known that video is, guys, just so everyone knows. I vaguely described it, and he produced it in 2 seconds.
I got to bring up a cosmology theory that I'm just I'm almost cringing. I'm going to mention it because you probably heard it. It's the whole simulation theory. Holographic cosmology.
Would you say simulation?
Yeah, you've probably heard those, right?
I think that's kind of gay, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. With that's what I was talking about. The quantum alternate reality, Marvel world. Yeah,
these are people who don't know the difference between matter and energy, mostly.
Yeah,
and back to the point you made a while ago, Mary, about this whole 9.8 meters per second, because Earth must be going upward instead. Those people just didn't think it through and do the math, because if they had a 9.8 meters per second, every second, 24 hours a day, every second, even if we started at 0 meters per second, in less than a year, you would be going faster than the speed of light upward.
There's so many things wrong with that ridiculous framework of interpretation for the same measurement
of
motion.
I always figure, and this might sound ridiculously simple, but I always fancied that everything happens on the basis of relative average density gradient. I mean, Earth and then water and then air and fire and then ether.
Well, that one's just electrical field, right? The downward vector determined by
Well, like,
electrostatics and the gradient.
well, but you think about it, right? Like the fact is, why ships float. I mean, even though the iron is much more dense than water, but of course, the average density, because the hull shape, everything really is a matter of relative average density.
Right, and then
And
why don't
Brownian
things
motion too, right?
Why don't things go up? Because of the electrical field of Earth and everything going down, and the electric field at 100 volts per meter accelerating upward, and the difference
Yep.
between the charging and discharging gives you the downward
That's
gradient,
right.
and then average relative density sorts everything else out at that point.
Yep.
Sure.
The question is,
Simple enough.
what's sillier, rising up Earth or Einstein's general relativity?
Well,
Well, any kind of science that's based on Newtonian mass-based gravity is absolutely flawed.
I think they're both retarded, and I think comparing one, like, a punch in the face or a kick in the balls is kind of mute or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just found the day that panicked America on YouTube. This dude with 239 subs posted it 11 years ago, and I just put it in a reply to the purple pill there, Bri, if you wanted to highlight it or something and send it to the top for everybody. That's where you can find it. It's 75 minutes long.
Give me a sec.
Hoo-ha.
So real quick, going back to going through the firmament in media, there's also a Sony commercial where there's ships that are going out and they go through a solid barrier and out into water. And then there's also in the movie Spiderwick Chronicles, they take a griffin. They don't say that it's south, but it's clearly south because they go through a sheet of ice and then end up in the Fey world, or where all the fairies are.
What are you talking about, Spiderwick?
Yeah, in Spiderwick, remember when they call the griffin and they go through, they actually fly out and they fly through an ice wall, which is how they get to the uncle.
Yeah, I think they were probably showing their stuff on the other side of that ice wall, and even that new King Kong movie. Well, not new anymore. A year or two ago, or whatever came out. They had to go through a portal, and it was in the water.
In Antarctica, and then through.
And I think when they show that kind of shit, what they're doing is showing not necessarily the Middle Earth or whatever. They're showing outer, because they can't say there's outer walls, man, or outer lands or anything like that. Because then it's like, wait a minute, what do you mean ice wall? What? We're in a sphere. We already know. We already know what's here, man.
Dude, we've known since forever. It's always been since Six and Shadows, and I know my distance between Alexandria and Sain. I know I can do 360, and the difference between the angle at parallel, because I know it's parallel. Bro, I know it's been a sphere since forever and always. Super flare.
It's been a sphere since I was 2 years old, and that's what I was taught, basically.
This guy figured it out with a stick in the shadow 2,000 years ago in a cave. What's your problem, dummy?
And he nailed it out of the park, man, because it turned out he was right. I mean, what do we need all this technology for? I mean, they figured out everything without. They were chiseling on pyramids. I mean, what? I mean, seriously, technology. We got such laziness with technology. Take away all our tools, and we're going to build pyramids again.
I think we've reduced existential philosophy down to I swipe, therefore I am.
Yeah. They got us down to what?
Come on, that was fucking funny.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I liked it.
I laughed on my mute button. I'm sorry. I can't. I do that sometimes. My bad.
Yes, I know. Elon prohibits.
Well, they say what everybody's got. You got to get their attention in 3 seconds, or they're going to swipe right.
I tend to repulse people through excessive syllables per word.
We just had a guy in here not too long ago that wouldn't go with density and buoyancy because it was too many words.
Holy.
Yeah. So you sound
He
like
said
gravity.
What do you say? There's at least 3 syllables in there. I said gravity has 3 fucking syllables. Idiot.
Uh,
Yeah, but dumbass is only 2. It makes his life easier.
Now you're talking.
Back in a sec.
It's because he wouldn't tell us what gravity is. And he kept on saying, oh, well, if you can jump far, you can jump or throw a ball far, that's gravity. What?
Yeah, basically, he's things fall, therefore gravity. You guys don't believe in gravity.
All right. I think I'm going to end it for the night. We're going for a couple hours, 2.5 hours. It's been a good time checking in with the lads on Twitter. Definitely everyone go check out the Twitter space. I'll put the link in the description if you guys want to hear more. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back.